Hello, my friends. Welcome to KCM Team Tournament match number 4. We've got Team Hero versus Team Snow today. A fantastic lineup here. A lot of Protoss players on Team Snow and some great matchups here. Let me bring up the lineup that's been chosen. Set 1 through 6 have been pre-selected here. And we've got some great matches to get into today.
Yeah, we got Bohai against Denzi as well. Weren't you saying earlier that Bohai was the only one that took out Tosco?
Yes, Toss Girl has been on a rampage in the ladies ASL. I'm sure most of you guys have maybe don't even know that there's a ladies version of the ASL, but it's been going for 16 seasons. And almost every season that Toss Girl has participated in, she's actually won that tournament. All except for one where Bohai managed to defeat her, I believe, in the semifinals.
Nice.
Yeah, just the most recent ASL, Toss Girl beat Cadenzi in the finals 4-0, just completely starched her. So very dominant is Toss Girl, but Bohai managed to take her out one time.
Wow. Interesting to see how Bohai stacks up to the likes of Denzi then. We also got some other great games on the board saying I'm looking at Mong versus Gameo, Hero versus Stork, and Saxry versus Motive as being some pretty potentially hype games here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really especially looking forward to watching Motive play. I've been doing a bunch of replay casts of him on the channel. It's been a real pleasure to watch his PVZ in action, and I think he's going to be a great matchup for Stork. Snow versus Sharp should be a really fun match as well.
Yeah, I think that's going to be potentially the most powder keg potential of games. Sharp, a very, very talented player, and Snow in PvT, one of the best in the business. So I imagine we're going to be seeing some pretty crazy, spectacular stuff from him. Maybe some really good Reba micro. Really nice to see.
Yeah, I would generally put Snow above Sharp, but in this type of match here, this team match where you've got whole week or 2 weeks to prepare for a single matchup, maybe Sharp can pull something out. Maybe he can come up with some sort of strategy that can take down Snow on that one map. So we're going to go ahead and find out getting into this first match. Let's go into game number 1. Set number 1, Hani versus BS2. This is that lower tier ladies set here. BS2 down in the bottom right, Hani in the bottom left. Looks like we're gonna get a Forge expand out of Hani.
Yeah, usually when you see this pro come out onto the map after placing that pylon in the natural is pretty indicative of a Forge fast expand type play. Usually they need to get a little bit more extra minerals if they are going for that gateway centric way of playing, so this usually does indicate exactly as you say. And going to be seeing the overpull from BS2 as well, so very safe. Probably nothing crazy is going to happen in this game for quite some time until maybe like the 4th or 5th minute.
I don't really know much about these two players, but I'm going to favor BS2 here just because she's got Stork and Snow in her corner, training her in ZVP, getting her ready, maybe pulling out or telling her some sort of strategy to take down Hani here. She might have something sneaky planned because Stork is a very sneaky boy.
Yeah, very sneaky indeed, and I'm kind of excited to see what we're going to be seeing out of him later on as well, especially in a matchup he's not as comfortable with in the PvZ, so we'd be like to see that later. But we're going to be seeing the hatchery just coming down here, nothing too crazy. Some Lings probably on the way as well, going to be wanting to deal with the scouting probe as soon as possible, denying that vision from the Protoss player, ever so important in PvZ. Protoss player pretty much able to do what they want and optimize their build perfectly if they know exactly what the Zerg is doing, so really need to deny that vision as quickly as possible with a sense of urgency, as denying vision in Starcraft is probably one of the most important tools to use against your opponents.
Looks like we're gonna have a hatchery placed at the 6 o'clock. Now this positioning here that we find BS2 finds herself in is probably the most uncomfortable, I think, for a Zerg player in this matchup, right? We've got her third base is actually towards the Protoss natural, and trying to take the far away third, maybe in the center right, that's very far from your main and natural. So it's not a great decision either way, taking the 6 or taking the 3 o'clock, but she's taking the 6 o'clock. It's more aggressive. Maybe we'll see a Hydralisk bust because she's just figured out where Hani is now. She now knows that she's not in the top left. She's actually down here in the bottom left. So this is looking like a Hydra bust game. We've also got the vertical wall in here from Hani, which is much more susceptible to a Hydralisk bust. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. When the buildings are in this sort of horizontal expansion like this, where the buildings they're wider than they are taller, say, and so obviously they're easy to hit from the outside by those Hydras, easy to break those walls open with Hydras without range, and it's a little bit easier to come in here and do damage. And not only that, but with this hatchery being at 6 o'clock, obviously would be better rally points for a Hydra bust as well. We are going to be seeing the Hydra Den thrown down, and I think that is the right call here given the current circumstance. But once this probe scout comes into the 6 o'clock position, sees that, this might be just a little bit more suspicion for Hani to kind of read into this and identify this very quickly. This does kind of like smell like either they scouted you late or they want to go for some kind of cheesy play, because why else would you want to take your hatchery towards the Protoss player here?
Yeah, it just is definitely optimal to go for a Hydralisk bust here. So it's a little harder to hide that. We've got the Overlord flying in with gonna get the scout here on that very quick Citadel. And the Zealot's gonna come right on into the third base. Let's see if she can get any damage here. One drone not being pulled away is gonna end up going down. That's already a lot of damage for this first Zealot. Zealot will get surrounded here and picked off. Nice control there, keeping all of the Lings alive. Not gonna lose a second drone, but even just one drone death is pretty painful.
Yeah, you can't really afford to lose any drones if you can avoid it in this, pretty much in any matchup as Zerg, especially in the early game. You just don't have a lot of drones available to you. Later on, you can get quite a healthy saturation of drones if you're going for a more macro-centric style, but especially in the early game stages, a single drone is also valuable. It's basically gold dust, so losing any drones is going to be a bit of a nightmare situation. But we see now a bit of a misrally as well, so one of these other drones is going to be here waiting at the front for the Hydras to show up as well. Actually, maybe this for a second I was like, maybe this drone is intentional. She's going to make a 4th hatchery here at the mineral only to have even faster rallies with the 4th hatchery 9734 style, but that'd be even crazy to go for that. So I don't think we've seen anything like that. But instead, now going to be hitting at the wall with these first 5 Hydras, kind of forcing a strong reaction out of Hani. And this might be because BS2 wants to just switch into making drones now, but I'm not too sure about that. It might just be because BS2 wants to start hammering away at the gates and start breaking open this wall as soon as possible to transition into a very strong Hydra bust. But right now, Hani's going to be making a lot of cannons to defend against this.
I wonder if there's any situation where you would build that hatchery on the high ground. Maybe you could build Sunkens up there and, you know, make a really strong position and transition into lurkers from the high ground, but the creep doesn't actually spread down onto the low ground, right? If you put that hatchery up there, so it doesn't really give you the option to kind of push forward with the sunken colonies. You just have one strong position. So I don't know if that would ever be an option, if that would ever work, but transition is coming here for BS2. She's building drones right now. She's adding on hatcheries back at home, and it looks like Hani has canceled her upgrade at that front forge, so we should see additional forges going down in the main. Zealots are going to come out here, but there's still a few too many Hydras. However, as more and more Zealots get added on, we are going to see this push back, and I don't think that BS2 has enough drones just yet. She's got to do another couple rounds of drones here. She's produced a lot of Hydras early on. This is a very fine balance between how many Hydras you produce and how many drones you produce if you're going to go for this type of fake Hydra bust where you don't actually commit and just leaves a wall there. Yeah, she didn't even kill the Forge, actually. The Forge still lives, so that's another factor here for this matchup. We're going to have double upgrades coming in. She didn't have to make that second forge.
Yeah, and having that really fast 2-1 timing with the very fast +2 armor, which I assume she's going for, it's really hard to fight against going up against these really fast double grade styles. So not being able to kill, even get the kill on the forge is a little bit of a nightmare situation to have to be in. And on top of that, we have this crazily exposed 6 o'clock position to worry about, which she's throwing all of her macro hatcheries down. So she's kind of like doubling down on this and understanding that, right, if I lose this position, I'm dead anyway. So I'm just going to put all my macro hatcheries here at 6 pretty much anyway, not really care about that fact. And instead, I'm just going to try and play like a normal game and hope for the best and just deal with the fact that I'm in a little bit of a positional issue here. But with these zealots now coming out in such a small number, needs to be careful. This single High Templar is kind of exposed and come in. One Storm does get used, but only killing 2 Hydras and losing the High Templar, not the best of trades. And with the Sunken Colony deep in the third expansion at 6 o'clock, very safe is BS2 against Hani's counterattack after that. So not really going to be causing any problems here. And some zealots splintering up into the natural expansion, probably not going to find anything either.
Looks like she can actually run by. That's crazy. That egg didn't block those zealots from running by. Zealots are going to make their way into the main. Probably get a couple of drone kills here. It is difficult to multitask at this level, but this is really not good now. BS2 not sending the Hydras all the way into the main to actually deal with these zealots. Loses a few drones. That's painful.
I'm really surprised those zealots actually got in there. I thought she saw them splintering off and she would block that. I'm actually a little bit surprised. Well, that's good damage done by Hani.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. She got a few drones. Kind of consolation prize there because she didn't really get any work done at the third base. The overall building positioning here is really, really good. Switching over drones to the gas right now. She must have Lurker finishing up in a moment. Start to produce some of those lurkers because there's hardly any drones on the minerals at the third base, and I don't know how much gas you actually need right now as BS2. She really needs to produce some more drones here.
Yeah, I think so. We do have like 7 gateways worth of production coming out of Hani as well. And all the 5 mutants coming into maybe the cannons aren't finished, Saiyan. She's going to start ravaging these cannons just before they start finishing what begin. But these Hydras aren't shooting. They're bugged out, Saiyan. So now losing some Hydras for free as well. This is absolute madness what we're witnessing right now. Finally, the cannon does finish and the goons help ward them away. But for a moment there was Hydras not shooting. Zealots getting free kills on those. Cannons being shot down before they finished. Like, for a moment there was complete madness going on in this game. I'm surprised I saw that on both sides, but yeah, both players a little bit disjointed here. A lot of unused lava from being supply slot for so long is BS2 kind of thrown off in this game. I think BS2 thus far.
Yeah, she's trying to take a 4th base right now, but she doesn't have very good drone saturation here. Her mineral income is just not quite there, so she can't really produce fully with all of her larvae, and then she's not producing enough overlords as well. And this is one way that a lot of Zerg players will die, is you get overlord supply blocked right when you're about to make lurkers, and then the Protoss attack comes in and the lurkers are just not ready in time. It's happened to me a ton of times. Here we go. Jumping on top of the Templar, getting one of those kills. Not bad. Not bad. That's delaying this push by quite a lot. And actually, the lurkers are going to finish. So there is still potential here.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential here. Now that the 4th base can be taken as well, we have the control of the mineral high ground. I would like to see her transition very quickly into Hive, or she's going to have to feel pressured into being a bit more battle Zerg and kind of attack the Protoss player, which I'm not too sure about that. I think attacking into Hani on this high ground mineral only, while also relying on the fact that we're not even going to be taking it to Hive, I think it's a bit too risky. So I think getting the Hive as soon as we see this 3rd base go online is probably the right play from here. I'm not sure if she's going to pull the trigger on that anytime soon. Probably just going to be setting up an infrastructure for the time being. But now Hani being a little bit on the greedier side, going to be taking the 4th base right away at 9 o'clock as well. Drones being transferred to this mineral only, trying to saturate as much as possible. Now BS2 trying to catch up, currently looking pretty healthy on supply count, 150 to 123 of Hani, so looking pretty good in that. And the Lurker coming here in the 9 9 o'clock with these mutas as well. Going to be slowing down the expansion path of Hani, and that's going to help BS2 find some pretty good, strong economic position in this game if the game state is somehow able to be maintained.
All right, +1/+1 is done for BS2. She's got those upgrades rolling. What's the plan here? What's the future for BS2 with the 4th base coming up here soon for Hani? He's only got 1 lurker defending that right now, so that's kind of an inevitability that a 4th base will come up. I think we need to see BS2 try to expand out into another main base, maybe take the top right. What do you think?
Yeah, I think taking the top right and taking it to high is probably the best play here from this position. We don't see either of those things happening right now, so BS2 very heavily reliant on this Battle Zerg tech style, just pure Lurker, Ling, Hydra with some muta support, trying to snipe some of these High Templars desperately. But here comes Hani, rolling into this very tight kill box, but there's not quite enough density of Lurkers to really punish. There's the big storms coming up on those mutas as well, trying to rip apart this position quite cost efficiently. There is still a sizable amount of Protoss infantry remaining after these trades have resolved themselves, but there is quite a large swell of Zerg at the 6 o'clock and these other rally points, so it will be difficult for Hani to get on top of the Zerg production from here. But this is pretty good trades thus far. Hani, though, needs to be careful. Some of this army is going to be dangerously close to being surrounded and swallowed up if he's not so careful. Moving over to the right is probably not the bestest of decisions here. With some Dark Templar support, maybe can push through if there's not quite enough cost-efficient trades from the eastern side here. Only pure Zergling currently being made from these hatcheries, so not really able to get a concave on these Dragoons from both sides. So far, Hani trading pretty efficiently and forcing the Zerg to bleed off units little by little, trickle by trickle, and Hani now trying to see if he can come in there and get on top of the production line at the front of the natural expansion. So close to get on top of the Zerg production is Hani right now, Sam.
There's just not enough stuff coming out for BS2 right now, but the Dragoon count is slowly going down here. Oh, Dark Templar manages to slip into the main, and there's no Overlord here, and there's no Overlord speed. Okay, there is Overlord speed. She will be able to get back here, but the Lings are not chasing this. 9 kills on this DT. This might actually be the killing blow, is this DT here in the main, because I think she was going to be able to hold off these Dragoons eventually. Okay, actually, maybe I'm wrong. Dragoons actually rallying forward here. There's really not much support for them. There's no... Okay, there are a few Templar. There's no Zealots here, though. And eventually, she should be able to surround and overwhelm this. But the army's just not coming out fast enough. Maybe that lower drone count that we were talking about earlier, just not allowing her to pump the masses of units she needs to finally overwhelm. And there's the first hatchery going down. That limits the production further here. More Hydras coming from the north. We've got storms there on the eggs. That's not going to be very effective. You need 2 storms to kill an egg. So those eggs do hatch, and the Hydras will pop out, but the Dragoons are still high enough in number to just kill them as they pop here. GG is called. BS2 taps out, or BS2 taps out. Sounds very much like Bisu, but that play, not quite top tier. BS2 gets taken out, and Hani takes away that first win. Okay, game number 2 here. We got Mong versus Gameo. We're on Dark Origin. I wonder what Gameo's got here to take down Mong. Mong, more of a TVP expert, has a macro-centric style, and probably wants to play this out normally, control the center of the map, and just, you know, take over this game. Deny bases here from Gameo. Gameo gonna have to find some way to overcome that macro style. What do you think, Shun? What do you think he's gonna bring out here?
I think he's going to enjoy some Zerg barbecue and want to go for maybe even a mech switch if he somehow survives the later stages of this game, Sen. And with this big open center and these kind of exposed bases on the kind of 3 and 9 o'clock, and easy to exploit once you got control of the center as Terran. So if he does go for that sort of mech switch style that he is pretty known for and pretty good at executing relative to other Terran players, probably one of the better players at giving it some hope and life, in fact. Kind of gives me hope that we're going to see more mech switches from Terran in the future. If we see this guy be a little bit more successful with it, let's see if we're going to see it today. Drone Scout for Gameo now coming into the main base, maybe put a little bit of pressure onto Mong.
This is really interesting what we're seeing here, right? Gameo canceled an extractor here to get out the 10th drone to send this early drone across the map and get that scout in. He was expecting something possibly like an 8 racks, you know, near the center or at the front, because it's so popular right now. But this is a completely different build from Mong. He's gone for a gas build here. He's going to go into possibly 1-1-1, but he's going to have a wall on the ramp, so you're not really going to be able to scout what he's doing. Gameo going to be in the dark, and he's gone for this kind of not efficient hatchery expand or a hatchery first here. So we'll see how this pans out. Can he actually get the sunken up in time? I think he will be able to. It's gonna be a little tight though. You know, he did slow down that hatchery a bit by going for this extractor trick.
Yeah, I think so. And unfortunately for Gameo, not quite getting this SCV with this drone, desperately trying to get the final moving shot on the SCV at 5 hit points, not quite able to get it. Marine going to be warding that away as well. Looks like he's just been going straight into a fairly standard lair timing. It's a little bit slow because of the way he opened up, like we were talking about just now, saying, so not quite going to be having a super. Oh, it's going to be a 2-hatch Hydra play here from Gameo saying.
Ooh, I love the 2-hatch Hydra here from Gameo. You've got your 3 drones here at the front. Gonna block this SCV. This is the most important thing right now. He has to block this SCV. If the SCV gets in and spots what's happening, you can just throw down a couple of bunkers here and you will just be able to shut everything down. But if you don't see the Hydras coming and you're building only some vultures here, you're going to be in a heap of trouble when the Hydras get across the map. You're going to need a ton of bunkers, and it's going to be a struggle to keep everything alive. We've got the command center here on high ground. He's planning to do an expansion play here, and this is exactly what the Hydra build is made to kill. We're going to be getting that Hydralist upgrade and starting Hydralist production now. And this is going to be super difficult for Mong to defend. Mong actually going to jump the first vulture over the wall here, and he's not even going to see these Hydras coming at all, I think.
Yeah, I think Gameo's kind of like playing Mong like a fiddle right now, and Mong's going to try and get this vulture in the back here, but the Thorlings are ready to catch it. Beautiful catch from Gameo as well. Good, just doesn't quite get the full surround though. Vulture squeezing through, just 5 hit points remaining, and now the Hydra will be revealed as a result. Really unfortunate to be able to have to give away the fact that he had the Hydralist out at this time. Could have bought a few seconds. Oh, look at this vulture block. It doesn't even shoot. The vulture, either kind of craziness we're seeing right now, saying kind of like peace existing momentarily on that bridge. They became one, and then they went back to killing each other like usually does happen in the real world too.
That's so weird. That was so crazy. He could have gotten that vulture, but I don't think he needs to. He's only got 1 Marine here. Hydras are going to run up this ramp. Okay, he does have the block with the SCVs at least, and 2 Marines in the bunker. With these SCVs repairing, he should be able to be safe, but this is a great position now for Gameo. He is in just an amazing spot right now. He's going to be chasing this vulture back, and we should see a 3rd base here soon with the layer coming up. This has already done kind of what it was supposed to do, which is denied the natural from Mong and really slow him down here. He's going to try running up the ramp. I don't know if this is a good idea here. Maybe just gun down a couple of SCVs, but going to be at the cost of a few Hydras. Okay, every SCV's gone down now, and he's going to target down even more SCVs. How many have we got so far? About 5 SCVs for 3 Hydras? Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of these kinds of plays mainly because of some of the ways of thinking in StarCraft 2 kind of changed the kind of way of processing and calculating value and advantages in games. So sometimes you get these situations where you calculate, hang on a minute, I can just force you to pair and trade off SEVs, and just killing the workers makes sense at this point, and I can bait you into doing that. And you saw a lot of that in StarCraft 2, and I think that's carried over back into Broodwar. So you kind of see an interesting dynamic where Broodwar created StarCraft 2, and StarCraft 2 created some ways of thinking that now came back to its roots in StarCraft 1 to even like latch on to some influence there. So kind of Broodwar like redesigning itself and its own way of being played. So kind of interesting stuff to see there. So.
I'm surprised we don't see Gameo taking a 3rd. Okay, here's that 3rd gonna go down, but he could have taken this before the natural even landed for Mong, and that would have given him a better economic position, but instead he's traded out a good potential for an good situation here for that tech. So he's gone for a Spire. He's going to have a lot of mutas here to start punishing Mong. If he doesn't have turrets up in time, he could really get hurt here. But if Mong defends this perfectly, I think that Gameo is going to have a bit of a hard time.
I think so too. Oh, these three vultures though might be able to get in here. The drones are coming off to block the ramp, but a few of them may go down with good target firing. You can one-shot these drones. 3 shots is enough to very quickly dispatch these drones, so needs to be careful here not to lose too many of those. Bit of a nightmare situation to lose even just more than like 2 or 3 drones there. So, but losing like 2 is not too bad. It's not the end of the world for Gamer here, but losing that mining time is definitely painful and definitely worth the price of admission of those 3 vultures. So Mong's gonna be happy about that.
Yeah, Mong getting a little value out of those few vultures that he made. Has some vultures over here waiting for a third to come up, but you know, Gameo's grabbed that top right. It's not been scouted by Mong, so he might be a little bit confused about the positioning here, where he's at in this game. He should be expecting the mutas, and he is indeed building some turrets, but I don't think he's got enough turrets right now. He's got some Goliaths popping out, but I doubt that he's got the range on those Goliaths yet. This is going to be a tight hold. This is going to be a difficult hold for Mong. We'll see what kind of damage can come down from Gameo as he flies in here to the main base. Got about, what is this, 6, 8 mutas here. Gonna go to work on these turrets.
Yeah, there's like 7 or 8 mutas, which is basically the golden number to come in here and start one-shotting drones. But hold the phone for just 1 second. 2 vultures did come into the natural expansion and execute about 4 or so of Gameo's drones. That's a really nice counter-attack and pick up for Mong here, looking quite deadly in this game as Gameo tries to come in and find some damage with those mutas, but not quite able to finish off another Goliath, which is going to be really painful to keep trading the hit points of these mutas off without finding too many kills for their trouble. We did see the very standard timing of coming down the side of the map with the 7 or 8 mutas to come into the main base and start sniping SUVs, and Mong's well aware of that, so he had perfect coverage with those turrets and good timing of those Goliaths to come in and intercept and prevent any significant damage from occurring. And now we see the Zerg player rotating around to the natural expansion to try again.
Yeah, he's going to try and get some damage here, but no damage that he can get on these SCVs is going to be equivalent to what Mong did with those couple of vultures, killing off nearly the entire drone line at the natural. That may be the turning point in this game where Gameo has to, you know, resaturate that base. He's not been able to continue to produce these mutas, so he doesn't have that overwhelming number where he can actually fight some of these Goliaths, or maybe dive in and kill off a armory or something like that. Right now he's just re-droning here, and the momentum shift is huge. Mong is actually taking control of this game. We're gonna get another run by here. It's not gonna make it through. He sees that Hydras are being produced, though. He may want to switch into a couple of tanks now as well.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be considering pumping out more and more tanks as the time goes on. I imagine we'll see Gameo producing quite a significant amount of Hydras in the next few moments of the game, and then switch back into making mutas at the right time as well, probably banking gas for quite some time. So you kind of see this like ebb and flow in ZVT when it's versus mech, where you identify what one player is making, you try and counter that. It kind of goes back and forth a little bit. If you see a lot of tanks, you know, you make mutas, and if they see a lot of Goliaths, you make big Hydras, and kind of is like that. And a few other nuances to that as well. But as we can see right now, Gameo doing a pretty good job of just coming in here and clearing out some of the control on the map from Mong to try and limit some of the influence of Reach. But Mong being really hyperactive with these vultures out on the map and keeping Gameo busy, and not really going to be letting up anytime soon, while he just keeps churning this massive infrastructure that's been building up for some time back at home. Now 104 supplies dropship out as well to kind of get even more versatility to this presence of vultures out on the map.
Yeah, vultures going to be sent all the way around the bottom of the map here in that dropship. Going to try and maybe go for the main base. We've got plenty of... Oh, a couple of Scourge here. Could end up catching this dropship, but they do have very, very low vision. We have some Overlords on the left-hand side of the map, so he probably should be able to spot this, but will he be paying attention at the correct time? Flying in right now with some mutas, looking for some damage. Oh, he just barely missed with those Scourge. Unfortunate. stuff there for Gameo as he's flying in here. He does see it with the Overlord. Then he looks like his screen briefly went to that position, so he should be sending Hydras back to defend. It's not enough Hydras, though. He's probably going to lose quite a few drones here. This could be big damage from Mong. Okay, all the drones have been pulled away, so he actually won't lose too much here. Pretty nice response by Gameo, and this drop has been dealt with effectively. But, I mean, it's slowing mining down. We've got a 4th base coming here for Gameo over at that center left, and the Queen's Nest here with the Hive coming up. What do you think that Hive is for? Are we going to see Defilers this game?
I think it's very possible we'll see Defilers for sure in this game. One thing I would like to see, though, is Queens. More so than anything, I would like to see Queens in this game. I'd like to see Gameo starting to pull 5 Queens in the corner and then going up to oh, there they are. Thank you very much, Gameo, for doing that. Yeah, start making the Queens now, like 5 Queens initially, and then we're going to go all the way up to like basically a whole control group of Queens, and then just keep banking that energy. In 2 minutes will be needed to get up to Broodling energy, and then we can start trading cost efficiently with this Terran player and kind of bring the battle to him in that war of attrition, because right now Terran's kind of like really playing to his strengths of just being an absolute turtle madman and just taking one corner of the map and just like, yeah, turtle, build up, and you kind of have to like fight that with some kind of significant huge value of your own, and you can't really get that of anything with Zerg besides Queens.
Yeah, Queens, and of course Plague, very useful as well. We might see that coming up here at some point, but we haven't seen any additional or any upgrades on these mutas so far, which I'm a little bit surprised about. We don't have armor, which can help with the Queens as well, but if Mong sniffs that out, he might realize, oh, you're just not going to build mutas this game without any upgrades on them, and kind of halt this Goliath production for the most part. Just focus on building turrets and building up a ton of tanks to deal with the eventual Hydra flood that's going to come here along with those Queens. And yeah, I agree with you. I really like this Queen transition from Gameo because Mong is being so passive and slow in his building up. These Queens are going to get a lot of energy and they're going to get a lot of value.
Yeah, and I think that this is a great play because of Gameo identifying Mong's play style. It's going to really work well for him in his current situation. And right now, though, Mong is very active on the map with these vultures, so it would be interesting to see if Mong can somehow sniff out the Queen transition before that energy timing rolls around. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's possible these vultures now run up to this top right base. If there's enough units blocking the ramp, he will not see these Queens, but there is a world where there's not many units blocking this ramp, and these vultures actually come in here and see these Queens, but that's definitely not going to happen with the likes of Gameo being in the driver's seat here. He knows all too well not to be revealing these to the likes of Mong until the very last moment, where it's going to be a little bit too late for him to handle. But right now, Mong's starting to put the pressure on, wants to come out into the 3 o'clock position, not only to come here and control some of this middle area of the map, but also to start to take these spaces and start to push in here. Oh, look at that big mine detonation on those Hydras, Sam.
Oof, that's painful. We also see a science vessel here, and one thing that I have to mention is that Fantasy talked about this recently, that there is a good counter to the Queen play that Terrans haven't really explored much just yet, which is EMP. EMP can be insanely good against these clumped Queens that are generally going to be on one singular hotkey as you're trying to micro things and macro things. He's actually looking for some vision right now. He just wants to clone some Queens to actually throw down some of these broodlings. And there's the science vessel. It doesn't have a spell, though, to throw out. He's going to throw out a couple of spells here against these Goliaths and loses 1 Queen, but that's some decent value here, and it forces Mong to pull back behind his Goliaths here. Just try to keep those tanks safe, keep them in a backwards position, maybe opening up some space for Gameo to get these Hydras up here on the high ground and get some more value out of these Queens here.
Yeah, astute observation saying it's definitely EMP is the answer to dealing with these queens, and that's why you have to be so careful with them. Like these 6 queens all stacked up, getting EMP, it's a bit of a bad news bear situation. But Gamer is being quite individualistic with how he controls them once they are in position, though. So as long as he can keep on top of them and not let them just get EMP'd for free randomly, he should be okay. Meanwhile, though, a lot of tanks have been going down to these broodlings, so getting pretty efficient value. I think there's a oh no, this is the one problem. You notice how there was no detonation on that tank after firing the broodling? That's because if the queen dies before the broodling has landed, the broodling will not activate.
Yeah, good point to make there, Shun. The real counterplay here is not only EMP but also having the glut of anti-air in order to shoot down the queens before the broodling actually lands. We're gonna have a big attack here. Queens coming in from the north side, which doesn't have much anti-air, and getting a lot of good broodling shots there. The Hydras really need to run up this ramp though and stop clumping right in this position, because the tanks are just tearing them apart. That was looking like a really good trade for Gamo, but it went south pretty quickly once all the broodlings had been fired and the tanks started to stack up their damage on that ramp. Now Mong gonna start to push forward here, feeling like he's got the leeway to do so, but there's still a lot of Hydras ready to fight and a ton of queens here, but do they have the energy to pick off another round of tanks?
Well, the further Mong comes out, the more potentially weak his position becomes. This is about as strong as his position can ever get. From now on, he will be taking slight risks in maneuvering out from here. So Mong right now trying to get the most out of the value of this current game state, the strongest it will ever be. And he's in a very phenomenal position right now. If he can just maintain his current position, he will be looking in a fantastic spot. But we will be seeing Gamo wanting to expand to this bottom left eventually and try and maybe squeeze Mong out of this game with a few cleverly timed counterattacks and pincer maneuvers as he tries to come out from his current turtled position, and that's when there'll be the time to strike for Gamo to try and take advantage of Mong kind of coming out of his shell.
Yeah, Mong coming across these bridges here. You cannot allow Mong to hold the center in these situations. Gamo going to be backing away with his Hydralis. Small groups of tanks moving forward. They're going to siege up. You cannot take just a straight up fight against this many tanks with your Hydras. He's going to come in with the queens. It's a little bit late though. A lot of these queens are going to get gunned down by the Goliaths before they can even get their broodlings off. And I think this is actually going Mong's favor in a big way now. Although his supply has dropped by quite a lot, that was a little bit rough for Gamo, engaging with the Hydras and losing most of them before the broodlings even went off there. This is a little rough now. He is going to come out and clear out some of these mines, but there are tanks behind this. You cannot push through this effectively. Here comes some queens to kind of help things out a little bit, and I guess this is decent, getting those trades with the queens. But losing more and more Hydras here. Mong gonna push forward once again. He's actually abandoning most of the middle here, that position that he grabbed just across the bridge, which I think actually would have been destroyed had he stayed there. So that's actually a good move, bringing his full army together, but a big counterattack coming through now.
Yeah, beautiful counterattack from Gamo. Exactly the kind of plays he needs to come back into this game. Cuts off the Terran army, but these Hydras are so clumped up, those saying just go splat. And look at that beautiful, tasty Zerg barbecue for Mong to just devour. Ooh, no wonder why he's looking a little bit round in the face. He's got all this Zerg to feast on.
Yeah, he's splattering those Hydras there that tried to come forward from one specific angle. You really want to come in a large arc and spread out your Hydras as much as possible. Even run some Hydras on a move command forward to eat some of that damage, so that you can, you know, have that nice arc that's not getting splattered with the splash damage coming forward. Mong just spreading forward here. He's taking the middle of the map, but he hasn't secured it yet. We've still got a small position here on the left side, or the right side of these bridges, but I don't see many queens left over. It feels like he hasn't been consistently producing queens here, just focusing on Hydra production, and that might be the spell doom for Gamo, because he just doesn't have enough broodlings here, I think, to take this fight anymore.
No, he just can't keep up with the macro machine of Mong right now about producing a crazy amount of queens. He hasn't quite found his balance yet. He has the right game plan. This is the problem with Zerg versus Mech. You can have the best game plan in the world, know exactly what you have to do, but the execution is still so difficult. Here we come, one big more wave of Hydras flooding in. You have to hit them all or nothing in this situation. So the Hydras all come in at the same time in a big pincer formation, trying to gobble up as much of this Mech army as possible before any of the Hydras start to go splat. And he has done a really good job of cutting deep into this Terran siege line, but now the reinforcing rallied units of Mong coming up from the southern threshold as Gamo tries to transfer over to this northern flank, but he is doing a good job of just crushing these Terran formations for the time being. He can't go east forever, though. Eventually he's going to run out of space to maneuver, as these high ground position will be too much for him to attack into for the time being. But he has some reinforcing Hydras from the north with 2 queens. If there's enough energy to brooding, he could still come up in there into this 4th base location still. Gamo on a roll right now, trying to put the pressure on Mong. Mong from the low ground, sieging up, trying to repel this attack. It seems like there's just barely enough to hold on to his 4th base location, but even more Zerg from the center could be coming over here, Sam.
Oh my god, Gamo, such great rallying and just shoving forward here on all fronts. He's sending Hydras from every location, picking off these small numbers of tanks here. When tanks reach these low numbers, they just can't really overwhelm the Hydras anymore with that just suppressive fire. Hydras just need to run up and just kill these 3 tanks. He's really just sending them in though now. Gamo actually losing control of a lot of these Hydras. Something else must be going on the map right now. Maybe he's hitting some rallies right now or hitting some macro rounds right now, because he lost quite a few Hydras there at the end where he could have killed additional tanks at the end of that battle. Now coming forward with a another queen. He's gonna lose that. That's one of the last queens that Gamo actually has right now. He really needs to continuously produce queens throughout this game. He's been losing them, and his ability to broodling units has been going down and down and down, and now he's got almost nothing left. Although he's grabbed this base in the bottom left, his supply is very, very low right now, lower than the Meching Terran, and that's not a good sign.
No, it's not. He has finally secured this base in the bottom left and started to saturate it ever so slightly, but that's only going to really come into play the longer this game goes on, and that's only on even territory with the Terran player. It's still not ideal situation for the time being. He will eventually come out ahead, but it's going to take such a long time for that to transpire that by that time Mong could easily find a way of killing him. So Gamo's still not out of the woods right now, and Mong kind of looking for any opportunity to come out to the center of the map and just cut Gamo in half. And Gamo is well aware of that and is going to be pulling some queens again finally. So just a few more minutes now until we have even more broodlings available, and we will start to cut into this Terran formation once more. But Mong might not wait that long though. Mong's already nearly maxed out. He's mined out in his main and natural. The third's about to be mined out. Mong might see it as the time to go very soon and pull the trigger before Gamo is necessarily ready.
Yeah, it really needs to happen soon here. Mong is running out of money right now. He needs to start crushing some bases of Gamo, possibly get down to the bottom left, but he's still intent on taking the central area, and I actually would like to see Gamo just play more of a kind of defensive game here. Taking a fight in the middle might just be the end of him. I want to see him just sort of back away slowly and continue to throw down broodlings whenever he can. Looks like a radiate went down on that queen that got picked off by the Goliath. You can see how hard it is now to actually take a trade here with these queens anymore. Now that we've got that 3-3 mech army, the Goliaths just shoot the queens down so incredibly fast, and that's one of the reasons that players have started getting more upgrades for the air armor. Air armor can be very useful, and this is the problem now with Terran taking the middle of the map. We've got Terran holding this area where they can siege the mineral line from the low ground. Nice job trading out with these broodlings, getting rid of some of these tanks, not allowing them to hit these drones, but eventually he will be able to prevent this mining. And Gamo really needs to break this position here. He's got another round of queens, but he's just kind of hanging back right now. Actually, I think this is the right decision. You do not want to take a losing fight with this army right now. Your bottom left base is just starting to kick in, and these queens that have been built are eventually going to stack up with that energy. Uh-oh, he's actually taking A fight over here at the center right. The last mining base for Mong may end up getting denied here, but nice reinforcement by Mong, bringing up the army, immediately cutting down all of these Hydras and keeping this base alive. He's denying a base in the center left and keeping that base in the center right alive.
This is looking kind of dire for Gamo, though. He's being denied mining at this 9 o'clock base. Like, Mong has pretty much full center control of the board right now. Gamo desperately trying to wait for some kind of energy to be banked so that he can then do a kind of more efforts of whittling down this tank force before engaging. But really, he needs to ideally engage with these Broodlings and his army at the same time. But Mong knows that as well. We see such a very careful diligence in being ready to EMP, being ready to target fire down these queens with the Goliaths at a moment's notice, and he's done such a good job of that in this game. Has Mong now coming down to the southwestern threshold with these tanks and Goliaths, trying to put some pressure on the Radiator going down on those queens as they try and desperately trade. There's a big concave of Hydras set up here in this bottom left, but it might not be enough against this huge line of tanks that are just going to rip through them. Here come now the Hydras from the rear. Oh, Queen's dying to the Irradiates as well. Really bad for Gamo here, not getting any.
EMP! He got the EMP! Oh, the EMP is so good.
Yeah, they're wow.
That EMP.
I don't know how he can.
That just destroyed him. That destroyed his chance here, I think. He's gonna come down with a bunch of Hydras. I don't know if this is enough. There's a D-Matrix on one of these tanks and everything just explodes. Oh no, that's so rough. That's so rough. I think that's it.
Rough.
I think Gamo's dead.
I think that's good.
83 supply.
I think he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. It's half the supply. I mean, we did see that command center go down, so maybe if these trades were going way better, it would look a little differently. But no, unfortunately, there's way too much on the board here for Mong. There's no way the trades can be cost efficient anymore. Even at 40% efficiency, Mong's going to come out on top here. So there's just no hope for the Zerg player going forward. Mines even taking out these Hydras. Even the SUVs could join the fight now and still be happy about it. So not looking good for Gamo in this game. Down to just 60 supply against the 200 maxed out monster of Mong here, just making his way across the map, making short work of his Zerg army and having a nice little tasty Zerg barbecue treat at the end of it.
Damn, that EMP just flipped this game on its head. I think if we had seen, 5-6 Broodlings go down on those tanks down at the bottom left, he might have just been able to clean up everything with those Hydras that were reinforcing, but with the EMP, that clutch EMP at the end, Mong shuts down that queen play from Gamo and puts his team on the board. Very, very nicely done. So difficult to defend, so difficult to fight that mech style, and Mong is just so good at executing it. Very, very nicely done there. All right, my bad. I thought that Mong was on the other team here on Team Snow, but he is actually on Team Hero. So Team Hero 2-0 so far in this team battle, and the team captain gonna come out. Team Snow here setting out their team captain to take on Sharp. This is, I think, a pretty favored matchup for Snow, but we'll see what Sharp can bring out here.
It is Sylphid as well, so going to be a little bit harder for the Terran against the Protoss with these flat ground. Not able to use the high ground advantage. Even this even this third base is a false high ground, so you can see up it without needing to go up there, and you can also shoot up it without any mischance. So really hard for Terrans to get good positional advantages over Protoss on this map. So does also give Snow a few advantages there. One thing we can say though is that Snow doesn't have the best spawns. Like if Snow had spawned at 9 o'clock, this would be better because he'd have a direct path into the main base of Sharp or Reaver Harass and other things like that. So right now the spawns does favor Sharp slightly, but I would say that evens out based on the fact that it's a flat map.
Yeah, we got Sharp facing towards the back of Snow's base, and we know he loves to go for, vultures, vulture drops, run-bys, that type of thing. Can be very strong, and he does favor those type of plays. So we'll see if that comes into play here. First Marine just about to pop out. Not too much damage from this initial probe, which, you know, Snow can do a lot of damage with this early probe if he gets it into your base right off the bat, but he sent it in the wrong direction, and so the first Marine's going to pop out here without much harassment. Sharp is going to be able to get into his build.
Yeah, going to be coming in the main base with the SCV, confirming the whether or not range will be started anytime soon from Snow. Sometimes as a Protoss player, you can also make the weapons upgrade and kind of fake that range and then go for like a very fast DT timing or something. So it's very important though as a Terran player to get as much information as you can to try and limit the range of possibilities from the Protoss. Protoss being the most versatile of the three races in a sense of how they can build and maneuver and, like, you know, kind of change the tech paths, if you will, of variability, and you can narrow down that range of potential by getting these key timing scouts with these beautiful moving shot from Snow, going to be getting the kill on the SCV of Sharp, denying the vision that's so crucial to him, and also being a little bit annoying there as well.
As Artosis says, as a Protoss, you can do basically anything and get away with it. That's more true in 2023 than it ever has been. There's so many different builds that can be done by Protoss at the highest level now. You can go for a huge range of different attacks, and you're absolutely true in what you were saying before, which is getting that information for Terran is absolutely essential. He's going to lose that SCV, so he doesn't know what's going on, and Snow's going to get in here and get his information, which is that there is indeed a command center coming up here for Sharp. He's going for a regular early game, no sort of crazy two-factory timing here from him.
Yeah, and for the newer players that maybe aren't quite aware, when you see the Dragoon come in like that, it's not like a mistake where he's accidentally getting shot by the bunker. It's a very deliberate thing that Protoss players are doing these days, where they're willing to just trade off the hit points of the shield hit points of their unit to just confirm the timing of that CC, and just kind of do what the Terran player wants to do and like limit the range of possibilities from the Terran player to then not have to worry about something, so they can get away with being more greedy or more tech focused, because they know that, for example, a very strong push timing is less likely from the Terran player once confirming that CC.
Yeah, so everything is looking really nice and normal here. Sharp, we haven't seen a second building out of him yet. Will he be going for that starport, or will it be a second factory? It looks like he's continued to produce Marines here, and he's moving out with a couple of tanks, so neither right now. He's actually going for a push. This can get a lot of damage done, but against a player of the caliber of Snow, I think he should be able to hold this no problem. What do you think?
He should be able to, with his micro as well, definitely should be able to. He is kind of...
Did he skip range?
I think he may have... It's possible he skipped range.
If he didn't go range, he might be dead here. This could be really, really hard for him. He's going to dive right on top of the tank. Two shots it. Oh my god. Calamity here for Sharp already.
Yeah, getting that first tank kill was absolutely huge. Probes coming off the line, going to be target firing these mines desperately before they can finish laying, but one does get into the ground there, so it's going to be a little bit annoying to deal with. It is on 10 HP though, so just a single shot from these Dragoons would kill it, but still a little bit dangerous though. If that explodes next to these probes, that could be really tough for him to deal with. Finally though, Observer going to be clean sweeping that out there and allowing him to come onto the map though. Needs to be careful though with these vultures sharking around. Doesn't want to lose too many probes to some kind of run by, so we'll be having to leave something back to defend while this tank's in like hot retreat right now. Dragoon though not able to get the full block on this vulture. 35 hit points getting into the main base, laying on mine. A few rally Dragoons though going to be coming out and killing it. Snow very well aware of the rally timing of those two Dragoons, kind of calculated the exact HP of that vulture to not lose anything. They're pretty impressive.
Yeah, incredibly impressive here. And I was wrong. I think that Snow does indeed have that range on his Dragoons, and just a beautiful hold overall. And it kind of boggles the mind that Sharp would want to do something like an attack like that against a player the caliber of Snow, and now he's going to pay for it. Oh, another tank going down here. Just 4 Dragoons at the front. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can almost hear Snow laughing when this is happening as well. You've seen his stream where he's like, "Oh, Artosies!" I can actually almost imagine him clapping his feet happily at every tank he's killing. I'm sure he's taking this game very seriously, but I still can't get that image out of my head watching this guy play. He's an absolute comedian and entertainer at heart. Like, thank God this man found streaming because he really is found his element, I think.
Yeah, his medium. He's found his medium, and he's absolutely brilliant. If you want to check out Snow's stream, definitely do so. It's a heck of a lot of fun. Snow, after picking off that tank, is in a nearly unbeatable position. I know it doesn't seem like that crazy or that huge of an advantage right now, but for a player the caliber of Snow, this is just such a crazy good position. He can do almost anything. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start throwing down Stargates right now and build some scouts. He is just so far ahead.
I mean, that's definitely something he would do. I don't know how crazy of a guy he is if he would do it in a serious setting like this, but knowing him, anything is possible. We will be seeing this speed shuttle like sharking around in the main base, looking to get some damage done here. He's very good with his shuttles and reavers. Sharp will be aware of that and kind of set up reasonably nicely to repel any efforts from Snow, but regardless of how prepared you are, Snow can still just out micro you, so he's so fluid with how he maneuvers his shuttles and reavers as well. He's the best in the business at it. No one really kind of comes close to him in the consistency of his reaver and shuttle control, so he's a very scary player to play against as a Terran because you're not able to kind of maneuver your units around with the same finesse that Snow is, so he's a little bit scary. You take your eye off the ball for just 1 second and suddenly he's just ripping apart your SCVs and tanks in the main base.
Yeah, here he comes again. He's opened up this position, so he's not gonna let it go. Losing a tank here once again. Gonna lose this turret as well. Some more SCVs gonna go down. This is getting worse and worse, and we've got the double expansion here going for Snow. Totally expected from this early lead. Another great shot with that Reaver, and one more just for good measure. Keeping this Reaver inside the main base just forever. Just the longevity of the Reaver here is kind of insane. And Snow backs away finally, but he's opened that position, as I said, and he's probably going to come back around and look for more damage at that location.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be sending a nice little probe train over to the 4th base location to saturate that as well. So it's going to be 4 bases to 2 of Sharp. Looking very healthy is Snow in this game, though. There is a little bit of a contingency of vultures out on the map trying to get something done here, maybe catch some probes or deny an expansion going up, but it's not really going to accomplish anything besides being a little bit annoying and having something in the back of the Snow's mind for later on, worried about some kind of vulture run by maybe. But for the time being, Snow's looking like absolutely fantastic in this game, Sam. The only thing really bad that's happened to him is this probe being sniped over here.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to grab the base at the center left for now. So I guess that's something going in Sharp's favor, but there's still 4 bases here for Snow. With saturation, lots of Reavers here, lots of gateways in the main. He's just got so much going for him right now. Does lose 1 Dragoon here and there to a stray mine, but still, he's going to be cleaning up all of these vultures. It's going to be so hard for Sharp to push out after losing this much.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of money in the bank for Snow as well while he's racing ahead in supplies. So I have a feeling we're going to be seeing him kind of max out extremely quickly in this game as well, saying I'm a little bit scared for Sharp because he needs to come in here and secure this 3rd base location, but this is not a high ground position. There's no mischance up here. You can even see up here, as I said earlier, without any kind of like vision from the shuttles or observers, so it's really not as strong of a position as it does look on paper. So kind of needs to be careful going up and taking this while Snow's ready to just pounce at a moment's notice. But Sharp does need to take this base very soon. Poor man's recoil into the main base with more than just 1 shuttle now, coming in with 2 double Reaver and some Zealots to boot. Putting on some pressure, going to be elevatoring more goons into the main base as well. Look at these Reavers getting stacked. Needs to be careful to micro them manually so they don't just get bugged out forever. Needs to be careful. Those 3 beautiful splash damage hits could have finished them off, but picks them up in the nick of time. Well done from Snow, keeping those Reavers alive importantly. Putting on a lot of pressure in the main base now, it's Snow saying.
Oh, that was so That was a heart-pounding moment there, just barely picking up those Reavers in time. He's gonna go for it again, but the Goliaths are there. They deal with the shuttle, and he will finish off that poor man's recall into the main base. Sharp has cleaned this up for now, but, you know, he's still not in a good position. He's got that third base, I guess, and Snow's not gonna be able to break that without some additional shuttles, but the macro here right now is kind of insane. We've got so many gateways here, and this fifth base coming up as well. Snow just staying one step ahead here, and you know, cleaning up even more tanks, cleaning up even more army here for Sharp, limiting his overall army supply. Still at 135. He's a long way from pushing out, and Snow's going to be able to get a bunch of probes over to that fifth base here very soon and start to take that sixth as well, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. We also see Sharp trying to interrupt the ebb and flow of the game now, seeing if he can find something with these vulture raids, you know, harassing the Zealots, maybe catching a probe train, finding any kind of hope in this game by keeping Snow occupied and maybe catching some easy value with some mines or sniping some of these probe trains. Look how on the ball Snow is right now, even escorting these probe trains across the map, trying to deny any potential for coming back while also putting on some pressure on the front now is Snow, seeing if he can pick off some of these tanks, but the vultures coming from behind going to make it very difficult to make that too successful. Retreats back behind the minefield now, but there's so many Protoss units here. But a beautiful storm comes out, but only catching one of these siege tanks, so not the bestest of values. Needs to be careful coming into this tight choke. This Sharp could make a good cost-efficient trade here. With these tanks being spread out as they are, it's going to be tough for Snow to get back into that big, deep line of tanks, so needs to be careful coming to this position, I would say, Sam.
Yeah, just trading out the energy on those first few Templar, not too bad. A good snipe from Sharp did come down in that fight to prevent too much damage from coming from those storms, but he's still limited in his supply by quite badly. He's at 120 now, so needs about the 150, 160 to hit that mark before actually moving out on the map and trying to take a fight. But he did, behind this, manage to grab that fourth base, the top right-hand corner base. That's going to be secured here by Sharp, which is a big moment, and there's Snow just now scouting that, so wasn't actually aware of that until now, but is going to, you know, grab his own bases in the center left. That's going to be fine for him, just adding on gateways to that location. We're going to go to a big macro game here. The time has kind of passed now where Snow could just break Sharp early and, you know, shut down his third base and his fourth base and win the game like that. He's going to have to, you know, go into a massive macro game here and try to win in the very latest stages of the game against a 4-base Terran, which is a little bit harder to do.
Yeah, it's definitely harder to do, Sen. Snow on a rampage, trying to make his way to the northeastern quadrant of the map to see if he can get over and overwhelm this Terran position before reinforcements can make their way over. There's only a few siege tanks here. It does get a beautiful storm, reducing them to red HP to be sniped by the Zealots as well. Gets the blanket storms on the other two tanks as well to clean up with the remaining Protoss infantry. Putting a lot of pressure on Sharp and trading off as many of these tanks as possible. Resetting the tank count is going to be crucial for the later stages of the game. If Sharp doesn't have a big army of tanks, it's going to be really tough for him to keep fighting this Terran, this Protoss army head on over and over again. So Snow doing what he can to come in here and force a trade on these tanks, and now we see Sharp coming down with like more or less unsupported tanks, and now he's kind of being baited by Snow as the real attack comes in here with the Zealots and Dragoons to kind of overrun these undefended tanks. Really great bait by Snow here, forcing Sharp out of position with these units and coming in with some High Templar support in the shuttle as well to just mop up and kill all the SCVs and the rest of the Terran infantry is there.
Oh, that was so painful. So many SCVs went down there, dropping to just a 70 supply here. Yikes. Sharp has been broken, and you know what I said earlier about Snow, you know, the time having been passed here where Snow could break Sharp on 4 bases? Well, I was completely wrong. Snow making it work here with the very well-timed rallies of Zealots running up and actually taking that fight with the undefended tanks. Sharp has been broken. GG is called. Not a surprise here as Snow takes down Sharp in game number 3. Game number 4 here of day number 4. Got Cadenzi versus Bohai. I'm really looking forward to this matchup here. It's gonna be a lot of fun. What do you got to say about this one here? Jun.
Denzi's a talented female player from Scotland who ventured over bravely to Korea to do what nerds do and to sacrifice the parts of your homeland for greater things. And what greater thing is there than Starcraft Broodwar, this game we've had for a few decades now, and hopefully will be with us for many years to come as it becomes the kind of the retro RTS of maybe the modern era, and we'll be seeing this game for hopefully many years. So
Yeah, that is indeed a large sacrifice, coming over to a foreign country to play Broodwar. That's no small thing. Denzi here, kind of sacrificing herself and her position in the world to come all the way over here to Korea and learn from the best, to practice with the best. Oh! A little bit of a lag spike there. It's alright. We've gone for a build that I've never really seen before, with a cancelled extractor here twice. Twice canceling the extractor, getting a 10 hatchery, which is something I've really never seen before. I think we've got gateway here at the front, but gonna try and fake a pylon or a cannon rush here, and that would have been really effective had this overlord not made its way to the natural just now.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how I feel about the 10-10 from Denzi. I mean, it's interesting, but I'm not sure if it's optimal.
A third! A third!
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is like the kind of thing you do in ZVZ. This is not the kind of thing you do in ZVP. So what I'm thinking is we potentially will see some kind of very aggressive lane play here from Denzi to kind of overwhelm Bowman here. I think that must be it, right? It's got to be the fact that we want to go for this sort of like ZVZ cheesy way of playing. Going to be getting a lot of Zerglings now. Is Denzi taking advantage of this lava increased amount? So going to be using every advantage she has available to her in the early game, which is going to be in the way of extra lava than usual and being able to produce a lot of Zerglings. So maybe you could put the pressure on and overwhelm here.
Yeah, getting a little fancy and losing this drone. This is not a build that I've ever seen before. It's obviously something that Cadenzi's come up with that she thinks is going to be strong. And we're going to see how it plays out here, but already losing the drone at the third base, that's not a good way to start off. Other than that, things have gone pretty much Denzi's way here. She didn't get cannon rushed. Her opponent's gone for the gateway first. I think this is a build that's calculated to fight against the gateway first. To have just an overwhelming number of lings at kind of a strange time here where you can maybe take out that gateway, maybe fight in the natural, but she's sending her lings back home right now. I thought she was going to really come over here and start to put the pressure on, but sending a lot of her lings towards her own natural, trying to defend this one zealot that's managed to slip across the map. This is already not going according to plan, I think, for Denzi.
Yeah, not quite the most optimal game state she would have liked to have, and now with the additional Zealot coming out, a little bit tougher for her as well. And this Zealot is really taxing her multitasking ability. Finally does go down into the main base, now trying to get some damage onto this gateway, but there's not enough lings left to threaten the counterattack. So Bowman could just come out here and just like slap down these lings at will, as long as they don't make any too big up blunders here and let any of these Zerglings in. It's going to be all fine and dandy. Needs to be careful not to lose too many probes as well with initially, but it looks like pretty much this has gone really heavily Protoss favored so far, and now this expansion is online, the cannon's up, the wall is pretty much held. Denzi's going to be kind of desperate for some kind of damage here, or it's going to be a pretty rough game.
Yeah, I think that we're seeing a dead Zerg player here. Zombified corpse right now is going to keep producing links. Oh god, that drone's not even mining. He's going to come running forward here, try to run by, but nice block there by Bohai. Gonna stop the lings from running by and killing the cannon. That was really the only chance there for Bohai to, or for Cadenzi to win this game, was actually to run by at that moment and get in. Now that Bohai has actually seen the number of links here. There's no way she's going to leave this wall.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I did notice at the start of the game we saw a little bit of a rough split from Denzi as well. I kind of have a bit of a, we talked about that off cast here about how maybe she was a little bit shaky in the start of this game here, Saiyan, and with that drone also not mining and the way this game has gone, I'm starting to think maybe she was a little bit shaky of nerves this game, not quite able to play at the best of her ability, which is a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, maybe feeling the pressure here, playing on the big stage versus Team KCM. It's a new tournament. We're here with the male players. It's time to show up, and do your absolute best. And when things are not going well from the very start, it tends to tilt you a bit. She's throwing down a Hydralisk Den right now, and gonna try and go for that. But a third cannon is on the way here. This is basically the end of this game. She's gonna try and run forward, actually getting some pretty good surface area on those first two zealots, but so much damage coming from these three cannons. There's no way you're gonna be able to break through. That forge comes up here at the front to complete that wall and not allow those links to run by, and GG's gonna be called. Bohai with a very standard win here. Denzi with a strange build, not able to make it work. Okay, the score all tied up here as we get into match number 5, set 5 here, Hero versus Stork. This is the match that I was predicting in favor of Hero, but we have to take a look at this map and what Stork can bring out here. It is, of course, Invader, that map that's been in the pool for a little bit, but is still a new map that's slowly being unpacked here, especially in ZVP, with those 2 different entrances to the natural. It does have some surprises still here.
Yeah, I really do kind of like this aesthetic of this map and having this like Space Invader vibe to it. Some of the games haven't always been super great. Some of them have been pretty good, but I do like the aesthetic to this map, and would like to see more map creators come up with these kind of interesting designs and not shy away from trying something different. Obviously, it's not always going to pan out and give you the bestest of maps to play on, but eventually we're going to find some of these maps which not only look cool, but also give you some pretty great and balanced games.
I think this map has given us some pretty interesting games. Looks like Hero here gonna go ahead and grab the third rather than his natural, realizing that probably that probe's gonna be there in time to defend. And with the timing of this probe, you should know that it's most likely a Forge fast expand here from Stork, and he'll be able to just build the minimal number of lings and take that quicker third and just play it out in a standard game. I like this from Stork. Playing the Forge fast expand, it's a little bit less micro intensive, and I think that's where he falls short a lot of times, is with that early game micro with Zealots versus Lings. So I'm glad he's going for the more defensive play.
Yeah, it definitely suits his style more. He's definitely a more Forge FFE kind of guy, for sure. He does struggle a little bit in this matchup in the early game phases. Doesn't even get the block there with that probe from Hero, but it's okay. So far, as long as Stork doesn't take any kind of significant damage, I kind of really do like his chances. He's a very experienced player with a very strong late game understanding as well. So if he can just hang in there, like most pros players need to do, just to survive long enough to come out onto the map with that speed zealot timing, then everything can be all well once you start taking your third base and kind of have some say in the matter, because usually you're playing quite rigid as a Protoss player in this situation, kind of force down very specific lines of play until later on in the game.
I know a lot of players don't really rate Stork as a 1v1 player, but I really understand Snow's thinking here with picking up Stork as his first pick, because Stork does have a very good head on his shoulders, and he is really well suited to these type of team battle tournaments. He's managed to take some of the big ones, the BJ Extinction event tournaments, that type of thing. He's very, very strong and highly rated in those events as a coach and also as a player. So having him in the lineup here is not just about his 1 versus 1 prowess, but also, you know, his value as a coach for these other players.
Yeah, absolutely. Saying this guy has been around for a very long time, hence one of the nicknames, I guess, Dinosaur to us. Very nice to see him in the scene, still alive and kicking. Definitely one of the absolute pillars of the Protoss community of all time, and can definitely still go, basically take on probably most of the scene, I would say, with not necessarily being able to crush the scene. Obviously, he's not necessarily not nowhere near the kind of king of silver that he once was, able to take second place pretty much every single time, but now in a much more modest position, but still quite strong in his game, I would say. Still at the pretty high echelons of play, able to take a game of pretty much just about anyone on a good day. So definitely a strong contender and a very wise first pick here for this team.
Hydralisk Den gonna come out of Hero here, so he went for the layer tech and then went directly into Hydra Den, skipping over that Spire play, and we've seen this a little bit more recently. It does afford you a lot quicker Hydralisk upgrades. It gives you some of that map pressure. It doesn't allow you to defend overlords out on the map as well as you can with Scourge. It also doesn't give you that option to scout with Scourge to find out what the Protoss player is doing, but you will get the very quick overlord speed with this build. And of course those overlord are the Hydra upgrades as well. So Hydra speed, Hydra range is going to be much quicker. You'll have more Hydras on the field. It's just a kind of an interesting way to play here that is a divergence from the normal style, but may end up becoming one day considered a standard build.
Yeah, I would like to see definitely some deviations in what is considered standard, especially in ZVP. It would be nice to see a little bit more variation there. Right now, though, I think Kira needs to be a little bit careful. I mean, it's right now losing like 1 or 2 overlords is okay, but once you start to lose any more than that, like the Protoss player can really run away with the timings. And once the Zerg gets supply blocks and is not able to get like a critical influx of drones and Hydras at the right key points of the game, Protoss has just such a strong window to punish the Zerg player. And you're short on one thing: you either didn't make enough drones because you had to squeeze out Hydras early because you were supply blocked, and you were losing to Corsairs, so you needed to counteract that and didn't produce as many drones as a result. You've got not enough economy to fight the Protoss in the mid game, and vice versa. If you focus on building too many drones to make up for the fact that you were supply blocked, you then don't have enough Hydras to fight the army that comes out onto the map. So really tough situation to be in as a Zerg player. Just one small hiccup and losing these overlords can spell disaster, which is why you see Hero being so diligent in protecting these overlords at this stage of the game.
He's done a great job of doing that balancing act, making sure that he's building enough Hydras and also committing to that economy as well. We don't see a 6th hatch out here just yet, but I'm sure that we'll get one pretty soon as Hero moves forward a little bit. He's got to be careful not to lose these overlords. Overlord speed is done, however, and these Corsairs are going to be looking for have to look for damage elsewhere. Zealots making their way into the 3rd base, getting on top of some of these Hydras. They're going to retreat to the mineral line, but meanwhile, Hero just going for a straight-up counterattack. A lot of cannons are on the way here. Drones are being pulled to help to defend. He's going to try and dive on top of these cannons, maybe go for the Templar as well. We don't have Storm just yet, but the cannons are finishing up. The probe pull is pretty good to try and slow this down, but he's losing his cannons slowly but surely. One cannon does remain. More probes are going to be pulled, and he actually does save. Oh my god, I think that Stork's done it. He's managed to hold this off. He's got the cannons finishing up here, and Storm should be done any second now. Probe's still here at the front, gonna have to fight for a second. Storm energy is available, but maybe the Storm upgrade not being researched just yet. Meanwhile, at that 3rd base, so much has been lost here for Hero, and the cannons are finishing. I think he's done it.
Storm is just about to finish, about 8 minutes 30. He should have it any moment now if he hasn't already. Stork, I think, in the absolutely critical situation, is maybe to overrun Hero's position, starting to gun down more of these. Finally, Storm is finished and just going to morph into an Archon after the fact. With all these cannons finishing, he's not going to die to these Hydras anytime soon. And now Stork putting on even more pressure with these Corsairs, trying to seal the deal, preventing any kind of recovery from Hero. Can't produce drones, can't produce Hydras, and meanwhile losing more and more Overlords, kind of in a crisis management situation now is Hero as he tries to stabilize his position, trying to stop these Corsairs ripping apart his infrastructure. Every Overlord he loses is absolute pain in his side. He has to wait for another cycle of Overlords to finish as more resources being allocated to something he doesn't want to even have to build at this stage in the game, and he can't do anything, can't make any more drones, and he's already kind of at a really weird situation where he's not even mining properly. He's not even got his third saturated soon.
Dire situation here for Hero. He lost so much at that third base, and he sacrificed that to make the counterattack, but the counterattack did not work. A Spire going to be the follow-up here for Hero. So Hero realizing what a dire situation he's in and that the Corsair number is not that high right now, maybe he can switch into a Spire, pop out a bunch of mutas at kind of a strange timing, and then, oh god, he's going to lose even more Overlords. Please, no. Okay, he does keep those Overlords alive. Yeah, to have a chance right now, he cannot get supply blocked here. He has to hit all his macro cycles, and he's got to get a bunch of mutas out here to fight and snipe Templars as they come across the map in order to, you know, take a decent fight with the Hydras and get some sort of foothold back in this game.
Yeah, right now the Corsairs being used like bishops and pinning the knights, which are the Hydras, in position and threatening, coming in here and checking Hero over and over again in this game. Really bad news for Hero to have to deal with this, but it's really textbook stuff from Stork, showing a very fundamental understanding of the game and executing it to a very high level, still supply blocking Hero over and over again. Once these pieces move out onto the board, they're no longer able to defend these Overlords, and Stork can just go to town and supply blocking Hero over and over again, and we'll have enough Zealot Archon to come out and challenge the small pockets of Hydras which are able to brave across the map. Finally though, Hero is cleaning up this Corsair count, reducing it to only 3, and it's amazing he's got so much done with so little, Stork, and really just shows the kind of caliber of player he is. Really able to get the job done with no matter what tools are available to him at any given time.
Yeah, you gotta hand it to Stork there. That was a pretty deadly and dangerous attack from Hero, that counterattack while the action was going on at the third base. But Stork, he made the quick decision to build a bunch of cannons at his natural, and he pulled approach perfectly. Now he's found himself in a fantastic spot here. We've got a lot of gas in the bank for Hero, so I'm expecting a big wave of mutas hit the field, and there it is. Huge wave of mutas coming out here. There's not that many Corsairs, and it's going to be limited even further. 2 Corsairs? No, 1 Corsair goes down. Only 2 remain, and this fight is going to be do or die right now for Hero. He's got to snipe every Templar here. He's got to take a nice fight with these Hydras.
Yeah, it's going to be a big tempo swing if he can do it. Comes in from behind, gets one beautiful snipe, forcing a self-storm as well. Gets one good volley on the Corsairs, reducing the HP. Going to be coming in, taking it down to low HP, and snipes both of the remaining Corsairs. Not much anti-air besides these Dragoons, Archon, and Storm available to Stork as Hero rotates around, coming into the main base. Now, cannon not even finished, and without any Corsairs done, these Dragoons are going to have a hard time using the unit flow to come into the main base to defend against this. We'll be taking some heavy damage from these probes, forcing the Dragoons out of position into the main base, and they're going to swing around and try and evacuate while sniping some High Templars on the evac as well. And then coming into the natural expansion, if there wasn't cannons here, would be taking some shots at those probes, but still just going to be settling for getting out cleanly after forcing the Protoss back while macroing back at home. Hero trying to do what he can to come back into this game, getting a 4th base online, macroing like a madman, trying to stabilize his position. He's actually doing pretty good on supply right now, 160 to 124, just +1 on this Protoss infantry. Second forge spinning in the main base, going to be up to 2-1 upgrade soon is Stork, but right now Hero kind of finding himself into a position that he can actually play from and not really looking too shaky anymore.
Yeah, we had like a medium. Oh god, 2 snipes here, very nicely done. 3. Oh, he gets 3. Can he get a 4th? No. 3 Templar go down, and now just a massive Hydra rally here coming into the third base. He should be able to snipe this Nexus regardless of what Stork does here. He's gonna lose that 3rd Nexus, and my goodness, Hero just on another level. Stork not able to match him in this matchup. That is crazy to me that Hero is able to put together that strong of an attack. And what I was talking about earlier, just sniping the Templar with the mutas there, actually came to pass later than I expected, and I think later than Stork expected as well. But that was a great move by Hero, exactly what he needed to do to get himself in this game, and actually ahead now at this point, I would say.
Yeah, Hero's one of those sort of like sleeping dragon type Zergs. Everyone knows he's good, but people kind of forget just how good this guy is, and he kind of makes the best out of the most worst positions possible, and really well rounded as a player, and able to kind of get to grips no matter what his board state is, and find his way to in the game to give himself the highest percent chance of winning no matter what. And you can't really fault a player of this standard, like able to kind of stay calm under pressure, and no matter what dire straits kind of come his way, he's able to kind of muster some kind of game plan to just come back and just swing all the tempo back in his favor and just crush the spirit of the enemy here.
A lot of lurkers on the field now. We have to mention that Hero lost his 4th base. That 4th base did get sniped by Stork, so still giving himself a bit of a chance here, though he is behind in supply now. And Hero is roaming the map with nearly full map control. He might be able to find a moment here to completely surround and just crush this army, which is now advancing onto this high ground peninsula in the middle of the map, on the middle right of the map. This is a very important location to hold, but with the way Hero is spreading his army, he might be able to just completely surround and execute what Stork's brought forward here. Great storm to start things off, getting a lot of those Hydras and Lurkers with that storm, but a counterattack going to make its way over to the 3rd base while this fight is going on, and there's just so many Hydras here. Oh, great storm on that left-hand side. All the Hydras kind of running through that storm, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Stork losing all of his Dragoons here. The Hydras overwhelming as the 3rd goes down. That's got to be it. Stork, he had a great spot, but Hero brings it back. This is exactly what I was talking about. Just Hero overall just a better, well-rounded macro player, able to take back that advantage and win over Stork in the late game. Ooh, what a game there. All right, going straight into game number 6 here. Saxory versus Motive. I am just inspired by that play from Hero in the last game.
Yeah, really stellar stuff. I can't sing Hero's praises enough. I never really have not mentioned how good Hero is whenever Hero's played. I think this is actually the first KCM I didn't mention how good Hero is, and he plays like that. It's like, I don't even need to say how good this guy is. It kind of speaks for itself, so.
Yeah, he took a position that I've been in many, many times, where you take early damage and your attack with the Hydras doesn't work out, and played from a deficit so brilliantly. Bringing it back with that meterless play was, yeah, definitely inspirational to watch. And now we'll see if it was an inspiration to Saxory here, who needs to take a game off of Motive. Motive, one of the players that I've been looking out for, one of the really the greatest up-and-coming Protoss players, I think, and especially in this matchup, he has shown some great promise as a PvZ player. Looks like Saxory going for an overpull, just playing it safe. We'll send out that drone to kind of battle with the probe here. We'll see if he just decides to send that over to the 3rd base, or if he wants to just get more damage on this probe. Doing a great job with the moving shot so far. Wow, really, really great job. Saxory, is he going to get the probe? Oh, it was really close, but not quite going to get that. Will be able to get his natural down, though.
Yeah, even though he didn't kill the probe, it's a very big moral victory to get something like that done. It kind of puts the fear in the Protoss player a lot of the time. Obviously, mostly on ladder, not necessarily the likes of Motive. Someone a much more, experienced veteran of himself is not going to be so easily shaken by that. But it does kind of put a little bit of fear in you when you realize that this guy's on the ball right now. He's like hitting all of his moving shots, and he's like his micro's on point. And he's got your probe down to 5 hit points, so it like takes 3 less hits to kill, to clean up, so your scouting potential is even more diminished. So yeah, it's a little bit of a frustrating start to the game for a Protoss player. Definitely doesn't make you feel super comfortable. That's actually not going to be throwing down his 3rd hatchery, while these Lings are going to be keeping him honest, coming into check to make sure he made this cannon on time right now.
Yeah, he did make the cannon on time, but you know, just good to kind of check that. He has the Overlord over the natural, so he does see it, and it's going to send those links back to get rid of this probe, or at least chase it around for the time being. Minimal number of drones have been made here, and Saxory, just a completely standard overpull gone right here. Everything has come together for Saxry, just adding on a couple more links. He wants to get rid of this probe as quickly as possible, and now that this probe has been brought a bit lower, it's going to be easier to get rid of. He looks like he's just barely going to get it. Yes. Not quite. Oh my god, I can't believe this is actually still alive right now, but it looks like he will eventually take that out, and he's going to be able to deny any scouting information here for Motive for quite some time.
Yeah, finally does get the kill on that probe like we anticipated, but yeah, one thing I have to say about probes in general is they're extremely nimble and agile, and even though with good micro from the links, you can tend to catch them. With good probe micro also, they're so slippery, probably one of the hardest things to catch in the game, so it's kind of fun, at least a little mini game to play in this game, catching that probe with the links, and a good thing to force yourself to do as an up-and-coming player, to force yourself to do. Oh, he's cancelled that, he's gone straight for the Hydra Bust, is Saxry here. I kind of like this actually. I think this is good, especially the horizontal opening to the expansion that we've talked about so much. I think this is a really good choice from him, and will potentially quite heavily mind game Motive. He might necessarily sniff this out for some time.
I'm not sure. I feel like this is kind of a mistake from Saxry. Like he was supply blocked at 19. I think spending a little bit too much time microing those links, trying to pick off that probe. He missed an Overlord, and I think this is like a snap decision here after missing that Overlord to go for the Hydraless Bus play. And, you know, he canceled. He loses some money from canceling that layer. I don't think the layer was even in view of the probe when it went down. He's gone for speed, though, so that actually hides a lot. And he kills the probe on the map, so he's not going to get scouted. Second cannon does go down, so Motive, you know, he's throwing that down as a safety. He doesn't necessarily know that there are Hydras coming, but he's going to be a little bit safe here. He's gone for a gateway expand, so Hydraless Bus is not that great against this, but with the addition of the speedlings, there is the potential here. There's some potential to actually get this kill. He's gone for very low econ Hydra Bust. He sees with everything with the Corsair. It's a bit late though. He's gonna be able to come in with the Lings and Hydras here and take this fight. Maybe if the Zealots move out of position, when the Hydras start to hit the wall, maybe he can run by with the Lings. Maybe he can get us around on the Zealots. We'll see how this goes. He's gonna run forward here with the Hydras, trying to block the Zealots, but the Zealots on the bottom side actually get right on top of these Hydras, and the cannon doesn't go down. This was kind of a missed you know, movement here from, or a missed attack from Saxry. Lost way too many Hydras in this initial attack, and the cannons are actually going to be finishing up here. The Zealots got way too much damage. One cannon does fall, but another cannon does finish, and there's just a few Lings moving up to the front here and two Hydras. I don't think this is going to end up working, and I think Saxry is going to have to transition out of this attack.
Yeah, I think he does have to transition, and you're absolutely right saying it was a blundered attack. Basically, it's a very technical bust where you have four Hydras that walk up to the cannons and target fire that cannon down while the Lings buffer, and those four Hydras without speed, but they do have range, can just like snipe down those cannons so quickly. But one of those Hydras were not able to connect and fire, so wasn't able to get the DPS required to finish off that cannon, then didn't even micro to finish it off manually after the fact. So really botched attack from Saxry. It's going to be really hurting him in this game as he now tries to desperately transition out of this.
Yeah, the Zealots getting on top of the Hydras, not supposed to happen. You're supposed to be blocking the Zealots from coming forward with the Lings to keep the Hydras alive as long as possible and killing those cannons as quickly as possible. And now we've got a DT here on the map. This pylon's going to go down, but it doesn't really matter. The Forge just gonna cancel here, does not get the +1, so that's something at least for Saxry, but he's got to defend perfectly against this DT on the map and get his drone saturation up so that he can have a future here in this game. His drone saturation looking dismal right now at the third base.
It is looking rather dismal, and he's making hydras. So there is a small world where he considers the possibility of going for some kind of crazy hydra timing at 9 minutes and tries to overwhelm Motive before there's too much storm available to him. But I don't think he'll go for that. It's just too risky. So I think he'll instead just try and bite the bullet, take the economic hit, and try and play this out normally after the fact. He is enough of an experienced player to kind of navigate this without too many frustrations, but it certainly is an optimal position for him.
Yeah, Motive held that out off very, very well, very nicely. Look at that Spire placement. That's funny. Spire placed right behind the wall in here at the natural. Kind of looks like a sunken colony if you're just flying over. Until it's about this size. Now it's pretty obvious that it's not a sunken colony. But an interesting position for that Spire. Kind of trying to hide that a little bit maybe. And it is a great comeback mechanic as we saw in that Hero game earlier. Hero versus Stork. He managed to make a pretty impressive comeback with just some good plays with the mutas. And maybe Saxor's going to look for the same.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to point out with the placement of that spire is it's very indicative that it's so important to click on buildings in StarCraft to make sure what they are is actually what you think it is. You can sometimes fake out players by, say, building a barracks where a CC should be in the first few stages of it does kind of still look like a CC. You can kind of fake people out. So it's really important for the new players especially to learn and get in the good habit of clicking on the buildings that you're scouting to just doubly make sure exactly what they are.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, you know, Motive is completely aware of what's coming here now, and Saxory should have some mutas in production, I believe. Going to be his comeback mechanic for this game, trying to give himself an out here, a way to win against Motive, who is definitely ahead at the moment, but not in, you know, such a commanding lead that it can't be brought back here by some good snipes on some Templar. Gonna come into this third base, try to get an Overlord or two. He hasn't really produced any more Corsairs, so actually the mutalist play could be very strong. Whoa, 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 was this a drop in the main? We got a Storm, a DT, and a couple of Zealots. A very interesting drop here, actually.
Yeah, very spicy variety meal being delivered to Saxory straight to his door via Uber Eats. I'm not sure Saxory's going to be happy about that. I don't think he's going to get a tip, but does clear up a little bit of the drone line, but not really getting the damage it probably wanted to find. But it's still going to be really annoying for Saxory and a little bit more worrisome for him going forward. He'd be worried about more attempts like that coming up. So might want to keep these mutas active and sharking around this area a bit more passively and defensively, worried about more drop attempts rather than putting on a lot of pressure and sniping more probes.
You know what, I think that drop was meant to force the drones to run from the main. He's going to drop a couple of Zealots, maybe a DT in the main, force the drones to run, and then when they were all clumped up, drop the DT or drop the Templar and get a big Storm to kind of like annihilate the economy, but didn't end up working out, and now he's lost his third base, which was, you know, that forward third Protosses like to take on this map. It gives you a position that, you know, Saxory can't really take later on. Gives you kind of like a extra space on the map. It's hard to explain. Like, it feels like a bad base to take, right? You're taking it so close to the Zerg player. It's better to take a base farther away. But at this time on the map, if you can get that base and start to mine that out, then later on, if you can secure the bottom right-hand quadrant of the map, then you're actually, you know, splitting the map in half, and that gives you a good late-game position. So Motive trying to go for that, trying to get that good late-game position, but he gets denied. Now he's going to come down and actually take the more optimal base down here at the 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to hang on to this 9 o'clock once you initially set it up, but if you can get it, it's so valuable for the later game stages of the game. We see now Saxory coming in, trying to shark around for these observers. If he can start to snipe some of these observers off, it's going to be really tough for Motive to move around very safely. Nice catch on that Corsair as well, going to be sniping that up with those Scourge and doing what he can with a little to try and keep Motive at bay for the time being. And if he can snipe some of these observers, it's going to give him much more time to work with the delaying of these bases being set up, as the lurkers can start to come in and cause a nightmare situation for Motive to have to handle without the detection available to him.
Yeah, those observers so far have been kept alive here. but the last Corsair looks like it's about to go down. No, it is here, just backing away. A Hydralisk counterattack is looking to be set up down here to try and get in on the 6 o'clock base if he can. Motive being active though, making sure that that's not going to happen. And with the base in the top right-hand corner getting saturated now for Saxery, we may end up seeing, you know, a hyper late game here, unless Saxery can come in and just break everything right here, right now. Coming through, he's trying to kill one Templar. He gets one Templar, and the Storm kills the one Observer. Uh-oh, with that Observer going down, these Lurkers are going to be so powerful. Lurkers coming forward here. We don't have any Observers for Motive. Motive trying to get his army together. Needs to get some good Storms onto this army here. I think he just went back to his main to get another Observer rallied up here. Looks like this counterattack not going to work. But Motive losing quite a bit there. He got some Templar sniped, and he's been pushed back into this corner.
Yeah, and Saxery's got the wedge in now. He's got the wedge dug in between the natural expansion and the thirds. Now this army's cut off. Now Motive does have enough forces to the south that he can still kind of keep some control over here. But here comes Saxery to kind of press the issue and take even more space away from Motive, trying to crush these Zealots with these Hydralisks during the probe transfer. Beautiful storms on those Hydras, trying to keep them at bay. Beautiful, beautiful storms coming out from Motive, but there's just not enough of them. And now the Dragoons starting to be ripped apart by the remaining Hydras, as some Zealots desperately trying to help out from the northern flank, and more Protoss infantry coming up from the 6 o'clock to try and clean this up as best as possible. Kind of fighting at even odds here, but finally Saxery gaining more ground outside the natural of the Protoss player. Now going to be taking hold of this bridge, borrowing closer to the rally point of Motive. If he can force a re-rally of the units as well, it's going to be very, very devastating for Motive to have to go through his macro cycles and re-rally every single gateway as well. So Saxery trying to be a little bit annoying here as much as possible, finding any opportunity to get some pressure contained, successfully containing Motive and cutting off any way of coming out onto the map. Could spell disaster for him here.
This is looking bad for Motive right now. He's at a supply deficit. He's gonna have to push through this very small choke here. He's been kind of cut off from defending the third base at this point, excuse me, and Saxery is just exploding on the map here, taking another base down at that, or over at that top right area. He's trying to come out here, can't make his way forward. Saxery not able to mount that high ground just yet, but as the forces increase here, the defensive capabilities for Motive at that bottom center are not going to be, you know, any more here as time goes on. He's just going to only be able to add on more cannons at that location. Another run forward here, sniping another Templar. I would love to see actually Motive build a another gateway at the 6 o'clock, just so he can maybe start to build some Templar there. He got a great storm on that big group of Hydras, and he's kind of pushed things back. Actually, it's funnily enough, Saxery kind of abandoning these Lurkers here in the middle, maybe giving an opportunity for Motive to try and push out.
Yeah, I think he's worried about a counterattack from Motive coming up from 9 o'clock, and he's also probably worried about Protoss securing 9 for free, and he wants to challenge that. There's a lot of situations where when the Protoss player is taking the 4th base, you want to force a fight, but the problem is that the geometry of this map doesn't favor that kind of mindset, so he'll be probably trading at a deficit no matter what. There's a small enough force of Protoss here that maybe he could still win, but it wouldn't be necessarily the most tenable play for him to come in here and try and do something like that. He'd bleed off far too many Zerg forces, I believe, to try and accomplish that goal. So instead, kind of rotating around, I think Saxery making the right play here and not abandoning this lurker position fully, and instead just like being more fluid with his army and setting up for a play down at the 6 o'clock. As the shuttle did ferry some units over, there is some storms available to Motive here. It's a very good play. Yeah, like you say, if he's not going to build a gateway down there, does need to build, get a shuttle over there to get some storms available to him to help hold that position. And Wisely did do so. Now Saxery trying to come in at 9 o'clock, but not quite able to get up this ramp for free. Motive trying to make him pay a hefty price to come up here, and Wisely so needs to deny any kind of space from Saxery right now.
Yeah, very nicely done there, Motive. You know, getting that shuttle down to 6 o'clock, so key. Keeping some defenses at 9 o'clock as well. He's managed to secure 4 bases, and that's where Protoss does get very, very scary. However, Saxery has gone into the very latest stages of ZVP. He's got all the tools he needs now to really take this late game fight. He's got the complete quadrant in the top right. He's going to be going into lair, and once he's got defilers on the map, how do you ever break out here as Motive?
I don't think you do, actually. I think you have to do some kind of craziness to start to deal with those situations and go mass reavers or do kind of drop play and stuff. And we see Saxry, he's comfortable to maintain this game state and let the Protoss have these 4 bases, set up a lurker contain here at the bottom of the ramp, as we can see at the 9 o'clock, and also maintaining this wedge formation at the southern threshold, keeping this rally point locked out for the rest of the map. He's just going to squeeze out Motive from this game. He's on 4 bases, but 2 of those bases did get mined out pretty early on, so there's only 2 bases worth of economy available to him at any given time right now. So while Saxry is still mining from this main and natural for a few more minutes, and Saxry has pretty much total map control, so can keep expanding while these main and natural become mined out. So Saxry's looking in a pretty commanding position. 194 supply to 159. This shot does get onto the map, which is some little glimmer of hope for Motive, but everything is indicative of a very strong Zerg game here.
Yeah, he needs to kind of break out through this area here, the middle, before this Defiler Den is done. This Defiler Mound is finished, and there's a timer right now on Motive as he pushes forward. He needs to get out here. He storms his own observers. Not a great start to this fight. He really needs to keep these observers alive at all costs. Dragoons are starting to shove through, but look at the mass of red coming through the map, and not enough storms here to keep this position. Some zealots are going to come up here to reinforce, but they're getting caught behind the Dragoons here, which are getting massacred. Some more storms do come down. Hydras are very, very clumped. A pretty decent storm there, but great split by Saxter. Just move everything out of the way. There we go. A great storm getting on top of that, but he's going to lose 2 Templar here. Did great snipes from Saxery. Motive pulled back once again. He is stuck in this location, and Saxery is quickly climbing towards that Defiler tech.
Yeah, this game stage is getting better and better for Saxry. Every failed attempt from Motive is just one more nail being hammered into his coffin. It's not looking good for you Protoss fans out there. It looks like it might be another team, another point on the board here, and not for Snow's team, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's looking really rough, and more units being traded off the board. Saxry can afford to basically trade at a slight deficit here. It's kind of like chess. Like, once you get a favorable position, you can just start trading off pieces off the board to simplify your win condition, and that's exactly what we see here from Saxry, just trading off a few pieces of the board, trying to simplify this position as Movu has less and less resources available to him to maneuver, and Saxry's just going to slowly bleed out this Protoss player from the game, while then moving into using Defilers to overrun these positions with Plague and Swarm.
Yeah, with the Crackling upgrade done and Mass Ling here ready to assault this base at the 9 o'clock. There's a Consume. This should be game over, I think. Checkmate here. Use your chess analogy. I think that last move to kill the 9 o'clock should be the killing blow. Coming in here with the Dark Swarm, Mass Ling gonna run over this position. Some storms do come out, but there's just endless Lings behind this to slowly overwhelm this position. He's even got eggs on the ramp. Beautifully done. Saxery gonna block that ramp, make sure that this base does go down 100%. Seems like Motive has just barely broken out, but with the lack of a 4th base here, with this base going down, he's just not going to be able to survive into the late game. He's on 1 base mining now as he breaks out onto the map.
Yeah, it's kind of sad at the moment, because he's kind of just now finally coming out on the map with some army. There is a small glimmer of hope if he could somehow storm all of these units before losing any of his Dragoons. It's just not really going to be easy for him to manage. He has got some High Templars training in from the southwest right now, so could have a few storms available to him to make something work, but 100 supply to 150, only 1 base worth of economy. 6 o'clock already starting to become mined out as well as time goes on. Now trying to finally secure the bottom right quadrant of the map, but after losing so many units, there's no way he's going to be able to fight the Zerg Swarm for too much longer here. It's kind of like the battle for Aya, and he's not got many units left available to him. He has maybe a few storms left over. Look at this huge swarm of Zerg just getting on top of these Dragoons. A lot of blue blood just becoming visible to us as the rest of this Protoss infantry gets absolutely ripped apart by the claws of these Adrenal upgraded Zerglings, showing just how powerful Cracklings can be. GG finally called from Motive.
Yeah, Motive taps out there. A brilliant game from Saxery. Overwhelming Motive. Just from the kill on that third base, I think Motive in nearly complete, or Saxery in complete control, and Motive tapping out there. We are getting close to a Team Hero victory. Can Team Snow make a comeback? We're gonna find out going into game number 7. Okay, times for our pick and ban. Looks like we've got a ban on Cadenzi versus Bohai here for Team Hero, and Saxery versus Motive for Team Snow. What do you think about that, Shun?
Basically, in the break, saying just there between our recording, thinking as I was, relieving myself in the bathroom, that the bands I would pick would basically be these Denzi and Motive.
Yeah, I think I might have gone with the ban on Stork. I really do feel like Hero has his number in that matchup, but I definitely agree with the Cadenzi Bohai ban. Cadenzi definitely looking shaky there, and Bohai taking that win pretty easily. Let's go ahead and find out which rematch we're gonna have here. Got a choice between Hani, BS2, Mongamo, Sharp, Snow, or Hero, Stork. Oh, there we go. Set number 3. It's going to be Sharp versus Snow. Yeah, this is going to be a sick rematch. Let's get into it. All right, set 7. Going to be the rematch between Sharp and Snow. Once again here on Neo Sylphid. This actually might have been a good ban as well. I guess Cadenzi, the ban on Cadenzi set is a little bit more prudent, but I don't know. This matchup was looking pretty Snow favored last time.
Yeah, I don't really think that Sharp looked like he had much of a hope in that game at all. So hopefully we're going to be seeing some kind of deviation in this game, some sort of adjustments from Sharp here in dealing with the likes of Snow. But it might just come down to an execution, and the fact that Snow's going to come in here and get this gas is going to... Sharp can take the gas right now, but I don't think he will. So he's going to come in here and just steal this gas from him. And it's going to be a little bit frustrating for Sharp to have to deal with that. And you can't really just make the gas instead of the barracks here. So you kind of have to just swallow this from the Protoss player. And it is kind of frustrating to have to deal with. You can be calm and just like navigate a normal bunker expand way of playing and not really worry too much about it. But it does get into the minds of a lot of Terran players and frustrate them, especially with getting the lucky coin flip and being able to do it in the first place. That's going to be a big psychological win for Snow going forward. Maybe even getting this SCV as well. Gets it as low as 8 hit points, 2 shots away from this particle being finishing off. Sharp, though, going to repair up a little bit more, giving it 12 hit points as well as another shot from that probe. Sharking around with this probe, seeing if he can find any more shots off on these SCVs to delay this barracks and cause as much annoyance as possible. It looks like Sharp going for the 2 SCV on the big... Not quite able to get it though, time.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see. Oh, he does get it. Damn it. That's so annoying. Snow, last game, he wasn't able to get any damage with the probe. He wasn't able to get the gas steal, and that was really fortunate. This time, it's just not gone Sharp's way. He's going to be killing this gas steal. I always think it's interesting to see, you know, how the Terran players decide to kill this gas, whether they use 2 SCVs early on, like Sharp has decided to do here, and then add on more SCVs later, or if they just wait a bit and then put 4 or 5 SCVs on it all at the same time. And Sharp here, he's in a tough spot. He's only got 2 Marines here to fight with, but he's doing a good job blocking so far, and he's going to get this bunker started. Let's see if Snow can get any more damage here. He's going to run forward. Nice block so far, but getting right on top of this Marine. He gets the first Marine kill. This has already gone a little bit bad for Sharp now.
Yeah, it's a little bit bad. He gets the other Marine as well before the Zealot falls. Just one single Marine left with the other one coming out. So this Zealot can run by, but Sharp being diligent enough with these additional SCVs to prevent the run by from coming in. So Snow not going to be too greedy here. Just going to wait for the next unit to come in and keep that Zealot waiting in the wings for another opportunity to strike and come in here and delay this command center going up maybe can be super annoying and kill this SCV while it's building as well. There is another SCV coming out onto the map to try and get a scout off as well, but some punches onto that going to take it dangerously low on hit points, so it won't probably survive for too long out there in the field of its own. But we'll try and get some kind of scouting information maybe, and get some kind of information on just how many units are going to be coming. Is there going to be another Zealot? Is there going to be these 2 Zealots? They're keeping an eye on exactly what's going on right now. Is Sharp desperate to get any kind of information possible to know exactly how to respond to what Snow is doing? Now we see this SCV scouting around behind these 2 Zealots, seeing what else is coming in, because if now he knows he can come out with these 4 Marines to put a little bit of pressure on these 2 Zealots. He knows there's nothing else coming right now with this scouting SCV, so can be a little bit greedy with these Marines coming out here soon.
Yeah, he's figuring out how to respond here, and that's kind of all Sharp can do right now, is just respond to what Snow is doing, because he is completely on the back foot. He's been slowed down in this early game, and Snow's kind of taken the reins already in this PVT. He's got his Nexus done. Going to be transferring those probes ahead of where Sharp's managed to get his CC. He's going to block this SCV from getting in as well. That's huge. Great micro there with the few probes there. And yeah, first Dragoon going to come and push these Marines back. We've got double factory in the main for Sharp and a starport as well. So this is interesting. He's going to be able to produce quite a few units here. Mostly vultures, I think. It's going to be a vulture play with a dropship coming in. They might be able to get some damage here because the positioning of the bases is such that the back of the Protoss main is facing the Terrans. So that's actually a good thing for Sharp right now.
Yeah, I was just thinking the exact same thing, saying that the positions are definitely more favorable for Sharp this time around, and has the direct path into the main base with this vulture drop, like you say, but denying the direct path into the main base from Snow now as well. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for Sharp, and the double-edged sword finally is going and swinging his way. But Snow's still going to be using these shuttles regardless of the slight disadvantage in position.
Wraith.
So yeah, it's going to be a Wraith play coming out from Sharp, wanting to shut down this shuttle play from Snow. You can't really fault him for it. It's such a wise decision from him to try and get on top of that shuttle and get a free kill. Could be huge. Getting some good shots off on these Dragoons as well as he comes out. Marines buying a lot of time, soaking up so many shots from the phase disruptors off the Dragoons as he comes out onto the map now, putting a lot of pressure on Snow, making him a little bit worried about a potential push here. There's not really anything too significant coming from Sharp right now, but he wants to make Snow feel a little bit of pressure right now. Maybe he wants to bait this this shuttle coming in to the main base soon, and then get this an easy snipe on it with the Wraith. Could be a huge tempo swing for him.
Yeah, I think he wanted to just make some space there at the front to get some mines out on the map, because he's not really gone for much of a detection. He doesn't have much detection right now, so not having those turrets, not having the academy here, you might be getting that up soon, but you really do want to skimp on turrets if you're going to go for this Wraith play, because you're already getting the anti-air to deal with the shuttle. You don't want to have to build a turret ring as well.
Yeah, it's the same concept with if you want to go Goliaths instead of turrets, you know, you're obviously going to be delaying the eBay as well. So you kind of pick one or the other. And in this case, we're picking the Wraith instead of the early eBay, and then we're going to eventually pick the eBay because we don't want to have to make Goliaths. So pretty interesting tech choice and path from Sharp. It might actually come into a big swing for him if he can somehow get this shuttle with this Wraith. But it looks like Snow being a much more frontal thinking with this Reaver coming into the front now and trying to bust open this bunker position, getting a scarab hit on one of these vultures, and now going to start shelling this bunker at the front and coming in with the goons as well to finish it up even a little bit quicker. Marines coming out to pull back to buy a little bit of time, soaking up some shots for the tanks, not currently with siege mode, fighting these Dragoons under the shuttle. Can just pick up this Reaver at Moses, but does get picked off. The shuttle, the Wraith coming in to ward away the shuttle as well, but there's 2 Dragoons left to defend this shuttle, so you might be able to keep the shuttle alive for the time being. But beautiful play from Sharp, shutting down the play of Snow thus far.
Yeah, that was a dangerous moment here for Sharp, who delayed his siege mode by quite a bit. Generally, it's better if you can delay the siege mode longer. Getting it as late as possible is going to give you an advantage, but that was dangerous, you know. He could have been broken there. He could have been killed had Snow controlled that just slightly better. Had there been a little mistake from Sharp, but he controlled very, very nicely. He managed to pick off that Reaver, and Snow uncharacteristically losing that kind of ends that push. And now Sharp gonna take his third base immediately. He's gotten away with this greedy play, not building turrets, you know, just going for a singular Wraith, and you know, skipping that siege mode for such a long time. I really feel like Sharp's play here in his position much better in this game, and we're gonna see a much stronger Sharp moving into the mid game now.
Yeah, I think like after this is all said and done, Sharp is this shuttle is just gonna get absolutely destroyed for free here. I think he's barely maybe can save it. No, I don't. Yes, just barely can save it by the skin of his teeth as the Dragoons rush in from the east. A little bit of missed micro from Sharp, maybe with slightly better control, could have just barely getting top of that and finished that off, but wasn't able to do so. Luckily able to save that, but even just getting some shots off on that shuttle and slowing this down is still going to be annoying for Snow, reducing the potency of his map control for the time being. And now also Sharp with a dropship of his own, going to be coming in to the main and putting on some more pressure to kind of see if he can get any kind of other additional advantage that he can then amount to a late game win against Snow in the coming phases of the game. There's only one Dragoon and one cannon here that I can see. Maybe some damage can be done into the main base, but we'll see.
A tank here as well. He can siege this up and try to get kill on this cannon while the vultures are throwing down the mines here, but double Reaver gonna just take 2 shots, pick off that tank, and this drop has been pretty well shut down here by Snow. A great maneuvering here with the Reavers to just deal with that quickly and efficiently. Sharp, however, does have a late game plan here. He's going to go ahead with that third base, adding on some more factories now, really pumping up that production, and going to go into a 4th base as well, I assume. This position is getting very, very well defended here at the top left with all of those supply depots. Is going to be able to really entrench that location and make it very, very hard for Snow to break through there, and then slowly move forward and take this 4th base.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned for Snow going forward. He will start to even the game out by taking this 4th base. As long as he doesn't take any damage to his probe lines by these vulture raids or vulture drops coming up, I think he can still find himself into a good position. But Sharp definitely has managed to navigate his way into a pretty comfortable position for the time being in this mid-game phase. He's not really got the kind of map control you'd like to see from a Terran player at 11 minutes, though. We'd like to see a few more mines out on the map, especially in the bottom right main base and such, to have a little bit more vision of the timings and the expansion path from Snow and identifying some key moments in the game. But for the time being, looking fairly strong. We have a poor man's recall being set up in the middle of the map with these 3 shuttles. Could go into the main base of the Terran player, or just use them to bombard the Terran army head on in the front lines as well. But it looks like Snow's going to be going for the former, keeping them waiting in the wings, maybe to go into the main here.
Yeah, he could go for the main, but Sharp, I think he's pushing out slowly enough, and he's got enough defense in the main that he should be able to hold this off. Here we go. Drop here, but 2 turrets shooting at the same time. He's going to lose 2 shuttles. Yes, 2 shuttles do go down. He still has 1 shuttle left to maneuver these Reavers around, but not much to try and bring Dragoons into the main here. The plan was to get rid of the turrets and then start to shuttle a bunch of Dragoons in here as well to make this very difficult to clean up, but looks like he's doing a pretty decent job of holding this off. He's killed most everything in the main, and now just has to deal with these 2 Reavers and 3 Dragoons. Should be able to pick those off without too much trouble here. Drop over at the center right. Oh, gonna get a big shot on some of these probes. Can he get one more? No, doesn't get that second shot. So looks like this will be cleaned up. Tried to get that Wraith there at the end, but the Wraith does manage to pull back. Really great control here and decision making overall by Sharp, holding on against kind of a beastly player here in Snow. All of his aggression kind of getting shut down pretty handily.
Yeah, very solid stuff from Sharp, and he's almost close to taking his 4th base, and Snow knows that. Snow wants to put the pressure on and squeeze him out from taking that for free. This like Sharp's gonna say, I'm gonna make the CC all the way over here, and I'm gonna take this gas up next to your main base instead, rather than trying to take this false high ground as his fourth base, which is, might be wise for the longevity of this game, especially with how quick that false high ground base does mine out. So I kind of like Sharp thinking like this more forward-thinking way of playing, and maybe coming in here and sniping one of these high Templars. Beautiful play from Sharp, getting any damage on these high-value targets like this is critical, especially at this junction in the game. So beautiful play from him, finding any value there. That place watches is huge.
Yeah, I agree with you that taking this high ground fourth base is probably better for Sharp, but it does also leave him open to the potential of drops coming directly from the main right on into that fourth. It's a very quick distance, of course, very short distance for Snow to initiate those types of attacks. We'll see how that pans out. Sharp just finishing up that command center now here as Snow takes a charge in the bottom right-hand quadrant of the map, as well as grabbing this false high ground. I guess this is where Sharp will have to push next, is towards that false high ground of Snow and start to deny that base. It's very quick rally distance for him to do so.
Yeah, we see this Wraith getting some value coming in here and trying to bully away this shuttle, seeing if he can finish it off. Not quite able to find that, but now with the shuttle warded away, these Reavers are kind of exposed and not able to come in here and help as the tanks siege up to get the bottom of this false high ground. Beautiful storm from Snow in response, starting to blanket down with his Terran and mech, shredding through them as the rest of the pro infantry tries to streamline down and fight out here. But Sharp doing such a phenomenal job with his army control right now, even keeping this science vessel alive critically as he starts to keep moving his way across the map, securing more center space and encroaching on his position to not only defend his fourth base but start to pressure this false high ground third of Snow and both attack and defend at the same time. Very, very high level stuff we're seeing here from Sharp.
Yeah, Sharp hanging on brilliantly there, taking great trades against Snow, and now has the supply advantage, hitting that 160 supply count, picking off some more Templar as well. Everything looking really, really nice for Sharp, and I think Snow's going to regret trying to take this false high ground so close to the position of Sharp, the defensive position of Sharp here.
Yeah, this is looking really dire for Snow coming forward, even up on supply as well, both for these players, which is indicative of an advantage to the Terran player. 2-1 upgrades currently for the Terran as well. Snow looking in dire straits right now, trying to muster some kind of response. We see the infantry units being moved around fluidly on the map. Zealots and Goons trying to make their way to the front line. Some storms going down on these siege tanks at the front line, trying to hold on to this base as long as possible to see if some kind of counterplay can be mounted, but so far not looking like that's in sight as more of these Zealots and Goons do get cleaned up by the Terran siege line that's just getting stronger and stronger, but even picking up more and more of these high Templars with the Vulture. Is Sharp coming in here, really showing his caliber and class in this game, and showing that even the best like Snow can be outmaneuvered. Beautiful storm drop comes in there at the top base. Beautiful pull from those SEVs, though not going to be worried too much. And I love the balls on Sharp to just come back in with the SCV, knowing that the High Templar doesn't have enough energy to storm again. That's like really like playing chicken with Snow there and trying to squeeze out every potential value there. I'm kind of shocked that he would take that risk, but he knows the play style of Snow so well that he understands that there's no way that Templar has any more energy than is necessary.
Yeah, and that mine there behind the mineral patches did so much work, killing 2 Templar before they got the storm off. That was an insanely clutch mine there from Sharp. And now taking fights here. I don't know if I like this, just fighting straight up against Dragoons with the Vultures here. But he's going to throw down a D-Matrix, try to make this attack work. He actually gets some decent mine hits from this, and he actually might get that second mine hit. We didn't get the shot of it. Looks like it didn't actually connect, and a lot of the Vultures have been cleaned up. Look at the supply difference switching there, with Sharp just taking that kind of weird fight in the middle with just pure Vulture.
Yeah, it's looking kind of crazy for Team Snow right now, and Mr. Captain over here is going to be feeling a little bit annoyed. He finally comes in with another charge. Zealot, Goon, Pure coming in, but D-Matrix Tang's going to make this look sheepish in comparison as the Terran mech army wards away. You need splash damage. You can't just fight with pure Zealot Goon. Finally, the High Templars do come in with shuttle support, starting to lay down some storms onto these Terran mech units. And even with armor, you still are doing true damage with these Sonic Storm abilities. So really good to shred through the Terran mech army with these storms. You do really need to rely on the storm damage to overpower the sheer number of tanks, vultures, and Goliaths you're facing. There is also vessel support going to be laying more and more D-Matrix to counteract these storms as well. And it looks like Sharp's just about done. It's going to be a really tough nut to swallow for Team Snow going forward if they can't even muster a win here, Sam.
Yeah, even their team captain not able to get a win here against Sharp. That's painful when they're already behind. Looks like Snow backing away slowly over and over again. That D-Matrix saving the tank from 2 storms earlier really hurts Snow's chances here because he needs that splash damage in a full-on engage to win this fight. He's gonna come from behind, looks like get a kind of a pincer attack on this army that's slowly progressing forward here towards his bottom right expansion. Oh, a lot of Zealots coming forward here and not much support for these tanks in the middle. He's gonna get like 5 tanks for free. This is a big swing for Snow right now.
Yeah, if he can just come in here and start taking out a few of these pockets of tanks and start trading them off one at a time, maybe he can reduce the tank count enough to start to afford himself some comeback potential in the later game phase. But it's still an uphill battle for him. Sharp also going to be expanding down to this base at the bottom as well, really starting to race ahead in the economic curve of this game while shutting out this right base, bottom right hand quadrant base being set up, which is currently having some gateways being built there to set up another rally point, but it's already being contained before it's set up. So really tough spot for Snow to be in here, not able to get his infrastructure properly online before already being contained. He does have a shuttle waiting at the southern threshold of the map to try and go into the main the base of the storm soon, but not quite able to do anything just yet as he moves up here with these Protoss infantry units, trying to get into his weakly defended position up here to see if he can maybe take out this base that just has only a few siege tanks up here. Sharp desperately trying to maneuver his army up to stop this from happening as Snow tries to shuffle up the ramp. It's very difficult to get your Dragoons up the ramp quickly though. High Templar being sniped during this process, but now the Dragoons up here trying to snipe as many of these SCVs as possible, maybe getting in the command center as well. A few Dragoons on the low ground trying to buy some time, does start to target that command center down. I don't think he's quite going to get it if he repairs right now, but look at this Reaver at this base at the bottom, nearly dying to those mines, but beautiful mine sweep picking up at the last possible second. Now can also mine drop onto the siege tank and really be frustrating to Sharp. Beautiful siege D-Matrix on that tank saying, wow.
Oh, the D-Matrix. And that tank, the D-Matrix tank gets the kill on the Reaver as well.
Wow.
Damn. I was going to say there a moment ago, Snow is starting to make some good moves. You know, he got this base lifted off. He forced this lift off. He killed off quite a few tanks in the middle. But Sharp kind of shuts down that momentum by killing off that Reaver, and now actually Sharp moving to the middle a little bit haphazardly is going to eat some big damage from these mines, and Zealots running on top of the tanks. This small force might be able to get a lot of damage done with a big storm here on top of a lot of these tanks. Gonna be able to shove forward for now, but the split here a little bit too good for Sharp. I think he's got to back away now. Let loose every single Dragoon. Yeah, look at that. All the Dragoons gonna go down now.
Yeah, unfortunately going to be swallowed up by the sheer overwhelming forces of Sharp. There's just slightly too many mech units for Snow to chew through to get the kind of trades that he needs to come back, and it's starting to dry up now as well. His infrastructure starting to become a dwindling mess as more of these bases become mined out, and there's not many resources left accessible to him to keep maxing out. More and more High Templars being sniped beautifully by Sharp as well, as he desperately storms the Vultures to try and find some kind of cost-effective trades. But Sharp now in hot pursuit without even siege mode, just running around. There's a little bit of a counterattack here at the bottom. Some Zealots and Goons coming in and storming up on this high ground, but there's not really enough forces to really commit to any kind of contingency plan. And as the big fluid motion of the Terran mech makes its way now to the southeast quadrant of the map to put the nail in the coffin here and take out this final second rally point of Snow to kind of kill any hopes of final longevity here in this game, as he comes in and takes away the expansion hopes and also the infrastructure set up here.
My goodness, Sharp with the huge advantage now in the supply, shoving back all of Snow's units. He played a brilliant game here, and unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be the end of day number 4 with Sharp cleaning up this Protoss squad. Not really working out for Team Snow here in the first half. You know, picking up mostly Protoss players worked out very, very well for Team Mini / Team Best, but looks like it's not going to pan out for Team Snow. He's still got some units flying around here. He's still trying to take out some tanks and Zealot bomb whatever he can, get the best value that he can. He's gonna get a nice storm there on the high ground, but just look at the supply here. 100 to 145 as he loses the bottom right. He's lost all hope of winning this game. Sharp cleans up the very final Dragoons here. Snow not ready to tap out just yet, but his hopes are dashed here in this game. There it
GG
is.
finally called from Snow. Wow. I'm kind of speechless, but Sharp's so good, I'm not too shocked. But you'd expect better from Snow there, I think. Kind of shocked to see him let his team down there.
I really thought that the Snow was going to give us a longer series here, but with that, Sharp has taken this series for his team. 5 points on the board in this best of 9 means this series is over. Hero moving forward. Team Hero taking that win over Team Snow. Bit of an upset there with Sharp able to take down Snow. I'm sure that the Team Snow was celebrating after that roll in their favor, getting that matchup, getting their team captain out on the field for match number 6. Should have been a win, but that upset giving Hero the quick victory here. They're going to be going up against Team Bisu in the next round. How do you feel about that matchup between these two teams?
Yeah, it's after seeing how strong Hero's lineup was, I do feel like a little bit of a threat to Team Bisu, but I still feel adamant in my original assessment. My opinion, it's going to be Team Light versus Team Bisu in the finals still. I do feel like there is a little bit of a threat to Team Bisu with how strong of a lineup Hero's team is looking at the moment, but I still feel like a slight edge to Team Bisu going forward. Bisu Mini as well, very strong players, and I mean, Bora's not too bad either. And I mean, we got the likes of Tosco is out with Team Queen. There's not too many scary female players either. I don't know. I feel like the stars are kind of aligning for a Bisu and Light finals right now, Sam.
I might agree with that assessment. I think that this week, Cadenzi unfortunately choked a bit, but she's still in here with Team Hero. She'll have a matchup versus Bora when these two do meet. When the Team Bisu goes up against Team Hero, and I think that's going to be a great match. I hope that she gets her nerves under control. You can see a good fight here between this nearly all Protoss lineup and Team Hero. Team Hero already showing that they can take on a lot of Protoss players, but this week is over. We're going to go to an anti-spoiler, so thank you so much for joining us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you in the next one.
That you're sticking up, yes, because if I was him and that's okay was him a numbers numbers ambers no wish that's the all was is night makes and never make flicken it on because I be he was no anti off and the ocean to see the same the video see yes and the reason the arm blow because we are going to say fast no I'm going to on base and shift and that's a bit of fire we split and we all mean and shift the talk next year yeah when the arm buffet open the stomach is the opposite in so from a veil or fiddle that be a weird goes the air sheet maybe it's nice do again this nom that is the you yeah was the fast that yeah
Yeah, but seriously, that's so making it is not for us that I know. Snål, det ska sidan om det ska stämma. Slutvan, det är van och ja. Så ja, har snabbt nu. Nej, makar det inte. Nej, det är snash, så det är så med det och så där. Ej, me up.
Wow. Where
Det går se mig då. Heave me, Snuggy. Heave me. Fäller sen se finally be nat. Fäller sen se beyond. Sich wer alles selbst in die Bichten so da sie lo und eigentlich ilim. Immer ist bei ihr vom ja nimm so von ihr sehen. Break down didn't get my name. Ngom rof see you know Sally yeah learn to sit that very careful alpha. Nicht quasi internet at the podcast and no gil sniffer. Boy, but it's new. See, then ich in your search to see if film at all. And every ross it the alpha is let alpha is no one. And there's just there was the sick the Irish guy and there can and access you. Sneak when I run and I see this is sick here, but see nearly roommate now. Now I'm sitting there, but label we heel sniff up snore seat the him in your island. Sketch see the center critics and your seat the wang it air smashed sand. Nair Woodland, Marfnal Lord, and but she's nick it there where it's in little under dog view and but follow him in the eastern the wine bar, but this is no see here of him next or they're off there, but her own getting yours facile. This is the rhythm. Stand aside, feel that our news, nights and you get you salad. He can be with that dog view. The line room me this new seat the way he nears. Hey, yes, you scouse. Once it or he's the salad, the now fuck fucking you cannot night no way near arrow. Guess nah, you're Venom's in the lure, but no, I don't study this nickname. See, little seal cat, but I was just mason away, maybe that it's just a modern and the air fake is that. He made this effort when the Earl Mill. So no make he's got the wish, yeah, and I hear it, Ocean is not nationality. The fell, but all but it's not that you saw will make the. See, it mustn't shark or sitting behind every number that you know. Saying, he knows snip has seen either is die.
Eller vi röstar som är och mycket stort men du ser hur jag smakar sig om vad när vi står så förlust anden igen så vad när vi läs kan vi inte göra som om att det är vad om Bombsnop Nishambo Nurses and the Achtasum over the Passenger Bomb Vivus Lines and Mommy Fashions. In off neck is new, was new, even the other will observe it, and the far never make ach, aber durch das einfach nicht viele Ethniken nach Ngom no and Yarstu would and always to me. Yes, many like when off easy to come vast up at Alps snarst the style of my off. Much das getting out today. Hell, I'm a heel schnet, low wing in master of my shows. Please, yeah, on the self, my rest of the here's your rest in the beat, no universe, and also makes it look all of the Alps, Nemach, universe. Blir alltså överskassat plats när filmen öppnar sig så lyckas ni av sig en stund.
Now, get on standing there, sneaking. The nether one, and earlier there is the but see, film it up and see if the dark sea was look. Fallon i som nips studying elder but needle henne man he makes it our snooks be so nicht we sni nearly rehind is how make is new. Ni salon na obstant that's Linux ni than yeah the rough ni McLean the that net Yes, launches like for gear when that is how we fit up solely sticking by there's never time. Mustn't get a hairline, air sea lyre, mustn't get a sea in my airman, not no, give some slang it must. Sirs, yeah, see, but all of our ocean is foolish, show me. Line one, them and the necessary, this snash near sea lakes, and if I'm not ready to yeah, yeah, this purpose is not the world, me, this is yeah, my world, either. Så ser man noe sitt snæsj no snæsj for man sitt fang ikke. Det skjer vel rett når så hangene snar få når ikke åfen i vas så lenge snø mig der gammo.
Sehelen lakkidu tässä vahgas omni abject se pofsis not då just fan det är sash det att vissa kasta sig var men avstå ni smart girl and ngom not a sharp with the avstå men jag var runnel me was check you see pofsis ni en am quist in the original fans det ni från och så jag ni så ni massaja ni mer det visst ni kasta det mer stabilt och figurjes mark ja sitta vi det bestäts för en av det exilsnäpp det verifti och nach ni mer det måste ske och rätt ni schaff så då var det det ja från det från så vi har snart det så mig extra då skärfen det vassen från en nacht någon vad så du is ni är ni så ni realize the melodies and the rest of the snake he's me achter was du get dir run sein out circus arts ja hadine auf wie sochtsa immer ganz in das amse alle was gerauschen schön auf das nicht geht wenn du aus yes nimm nach wo so ja alles eine schön wish this in the fun mit echt you know so ja wer warm geht man was you und das was switch and ich escape da wir das you has given so wouldn't ask me except the fact this goes will off but this about me I would say is no I feel that he's new he's there for is used to plug on their long niche and the what we know is good.
Minute aufsit, yes, das da. Get there, snilder, van wacht, das was so diese gewohnheit, your food blobs, food, then the man, this not a person, on is sick of snew, this inner milices, the nimbus, I can sleep. Her voice fell snew, in a miss smart out of the seed, but as there, there asphalte, no, or he is bombs, let us you, I enter his desire. I'm a little in the case, you hear wolfing it out. Sitting on their wolfing in my snimage alps. Hey, they're alps getting on the cross and at my honey. Anekli ilasa. Snemmet hade mastigt nervofna med kvummen och så där massor film så snabbt så där jag nervs. Nej. Snarlen i macken av wheelerville nej, was it snarl för macka. Snarst där så där så near the Alps. Ja.
Massiv gas OCF den var rebel life gets ja no and laugh is just number för ich gebaut gas ist yes du für die Bedekelles Alps so nässet was so ja seal auf wie man rest das was nach mir das nicht hab noch gesehen nicht sehr beachtet KCM weg nur vergessen ich für bei
Liners give a gaster knife, give it a bear, they get him off senior. Food the gift cast us red dead sea now, or send it back to whisk. It has no snare, but Sarko such bar. He in the shiz, I very killed him, but let's saw me in the night, by a scazzy. And I guess no rough shop and an arm race to their home, no whistle up. Sneeuw, got no snare, son, getting the seeds, is a sega. En able a lot of en if en ik sneeuw was makkerie. Heel veel kaffe dus shop aan echt in de hops en snort. Nou snel zien maar daar nee, mag ik zie uit farrels is het. Het fall nou de wiesen jullie bij de van de zon is dus ja had nog eens niet. Make your far the model so what? No, no, get ours the help us see who is line, give money or if some you guys get the passing a little bit, they can even get off from sale, yeah, but no, shaking signal. Oh, yeah, limitless this new, no, never exists, yeah, hurry if you. Snash, them says, nigga, yeah, fire, sisters, yes, on a box, she senator, they're off, new, snash, whisper, glums. Sellers, yeah, see, they will only have me to go mix in the share, which the scene. Ernest said, bull has gone by a lot on a year, he says, she's talking about gone by.
Shebang nach ngam bush na appliques nast me ek of gast nach sie wenn der usat na de is het bus na wacht zijn bevlaam das ja nicht sagt so wie in bisschen nicht das gas durch nach na spiel wel wie für me ek se ngam sie wenn wir ausna hier schnell betellen mit op zu snaps just nicht noch wir me ek nie sie wo wir op ist snap nicht believe in is of marks nie such nicht and orange is one on the fear of Venetia he that always so much jetzt wie echt noch so viel das last in Ausstein irgendwann first more flying your food this cereals nicht erst die wo ich noch one ich feel that nicht is a position most abs mach ich mich is a sich will schlecht bombe was machen wir da für
Scared when I run on the fuck up station and he's back here. The person you come off that, yeah, funny, there's now, but all it's at the bus, did we leave the. Now, I see youngly free, you know, off shop, but they're sitting on blind, my ran lost in my dread, but I said that I was scared in the real from the messing a little bit lost, no one. He'll go, you know, plus. Now, when I'm on your fair regular Raquel Nichols, so what? They're off, but in your ass, so scared, it's a ships in there. If most net no admire, it's not a rusty neither, so there it's not shielder. But all long it. Take your ass, national fatness, I do not throw and none more from the next new. Very gosh, thank you, but I never was now, little skyilder, but. Hey, no, was new good night, wish, oyster on it. Hurry, ass, nat, but hey, give a hat. Oh, slot of me, mate, on Siri, help, burn, I clear the. Oh, yeah. Nöshet gims njoklik nas nökdain.
Anlongelur met de naal, zangelur met of ipsia, nieuw het zangelur when you're off het ook niet en als je het doen, zo wil lassen en niet zien wat het zit en dat we zijn niet veel live met de shit failure. Niet echt dus zangelur, zie dus nooit niet ook niet was niet al, maar wel niet. Echt, je machine met naar weer vervliegt mee. Ik zeg net dat andere dat was nog niet. En de kiezen als zo anders is het nu al snel. Met zoals nog je waar ook is zelfs de ben ook niet zien mee. Maar zo is het zien dat de bedrijf mee. Ik was uit zoals nieuw gezien. Dan werd de woord gezien op zijn nieuw gezien. Doen we dus snel iets ik mee die vetten en zo was wat je zei.
Race nieuw gezien dat. Hoi live rond bestikken in our ja en our bussers ja zie. Ik is no meer grof. Seeps was in de boeien. En this is the stroke have been with me. Face yes so ik nou schiks race de oude. Zich ja hap boh but ze strof en er goeie live in de sea. Was dat dan nieuw genomen ze zoel en het de oude. See, snake are slips. Opmaken oorstelling zien oorstelling. Lips, maar dat is like nul of now. See, it's er this and get lure. Maar zie de massa. Nou, door zie je schijt nieuw. Mas nul, goeie snel, zoals die gaan neer de schip. Maar er ook niet de luschijt is niet door. Dus niet door. Ja, en als je zegt, hey, Harling is snel. Nou, je bent een girl en dat is dat is nieuw, mocht is negere gilnis, neem ik mee, ze doe het ijs, snabbrol, scheler, de wijsner heeft dat heel nieuw geduister, en eigenlijk de zeer, dat die in de zeer zit, dat het was niet zijn af, dat zijn de snem met vijanden, het nam er heel zo snel zijn, nee, ze zal of niet, staat goed.
Es ist noch so ein schönes Name bei der Garo. Ich hoffe, dass es sehr psychisch ist, dass es so am Feuer wurde im Sinne so erschnitten. Ach, das nie an, das ist auch gerft, das ist nur einfach das so. Nur scharf mit dem Gas, no man, ja. Aber na, und wir werden uns belohnen mit dem Sali, das ist nicht. Was da wir sehen hier bestand alles wo wir sehen hier ist wir dann nicht meer geschadet doen het eigenlijk wel best had op nieuw series nee mag iets als ik wel zien maar verzinnig op in een andere was er wel op nieuw series on the week maar when ik op zijn anders het is ja vast dus aan our rand dus op die op zich zelf nog aan het slecht niet dan our resort we are speaking that filmisches nach nieuw geoefend zo mas facing is nieuw sich auf sie und dann darf ich geier singen am Wörlein ja und dann schaue ich das Lyrics in mehr Flow wieder rendixiert well sie auch am ja auf das Net ja im Weg so so gibt ja hey
We have it all leaning our nation and have it all leaning our nukesy by your lips in it. Well, sniff his hat was snipsing arms that give him making more. And this is there's nukes at Galilee right there, guy, this nukes at the mall. He making nukes the no for the house never. I the ways the snacks the nacht and you look. That's there, you look nothing officers on it. You're up some of the scatter that sit and I what you know. The man lost their buying it out the one. Makes the city live in a considering what Sally around behind the that's it's on the feet. The boss is new with the and actually were brought with you. Fine, what you want to say, the blue door off for city. See, not there, but in there, on shit, the is the value. You know, must that area. I'm at this damn also see here. Gel. Stroke van de sneeuw.
Sneeuw, ja, super, sneeuw. Niet in het, ik hier mag in de waar we laten zien. Nuchter hem mis. Van was veel uit die afgelopen vrijdag kunnen. Wat ik voor dat hij dat is een aan met er nog nou niet gisteren aan bij moest je zijn je was meer is niet als video geld van achtste de rest de lijn ja was het en de eerste hoop en we is de avond hier van achtste rest is de hele shift is toch niet eerst it's the recommendation in Angle Lurpus, but I can do this. They need you to and we nation and getting out features in a sneeuw version of law. Crazy epic alles Bible. I'm gonna do my daily shin the sneeuw wel and sneeuw can hear about say. I'm gonna the film I'm here speaking F higher than lowest. I'm gonna and ook een sneeuw wel hoe ja zo mee is het gaat dan weg en de sneeuw is het gaat wel niet in en de zon sneeuw zo wel is het gaat de weg dat wel makes en push of is het af het is zo de software zeg ik
Makes us allow for decent growth. So, yeah, I need a one back there. He is the recent new that fella that nervo. Oh, man, you're offering him accept no for that you know, you'll see that. Feels like after the white nips that bars sit down oh, make out snobs or sand Hurrish numbers so long, we'll scrap you say what all the backnors the law. Maar slim uit give mixen. Snors nu verdocht zullen op zoals daar van de ons. Nee, voor de schaapsers daar in de siebesjes is alles nou wil veel meer zich als geline. De onderwijs de wees uit meer elf zo mee girlfriend was. Dan de strof van de snurk zo doet similar episodes. Ha! Slim uit mijn strof niet. Zo doe je must so want everything else. Maar dat net FBB killen whoops absoluut de shield bemarkt. Just man, dat is net fel en opstroller wat must wij maar. En is het wel leren weer even maar hoe je get de bespaard. Zijn gestekt beneden. Hurry snurks vol maar. Voor een makroep. Same name, but the foggy be me arsenic bespaard en er ik man met wat met al naar with all. Nessie met exertional bij.
En de laatste slot was een zelfbesieders. Is de rest de zelfboom bewegen nacht. Hoe dat? Hoe is vast met was die al bestoven dus na en wel ik heb me als was of lang gedaan. De zelfs hartstikke niet wees hem. Zijn je daar? Zwicht zich hier om juist maar niet van je alle dat je er run. Is we're making a speaking of fan and the last lossy veel vlees karaf hier niet man hier was no funny the mas en de naast nam maar en nog voor snuit de mas aangeregeld en in wacht wel als de hier met de weg en er is de gestaat was de others nou in de vuist en dat als ja dus ja Gemi stijl, de politie en de zuidkant Gemi aan is de politie bij de voetbal van de kapsel. Ja, dat is maar nou stien die Gemi wel nou wel van net jou ook Gemi stuff en de wist die wissen dat is niet wel van de weg als die zijn achties. Ja, maar ook of zij niet meer weer op pauze maar ja dat is niet Gemi niet kapsel en dan weet je dat is wel briefs en niks ja van Amerika vind ik ook niet zo veel meer zo. Dus daarmee als ik dat is niet om eigenlijk maken dus even een versie.
Close on snatched will fuck goes to send away because we're neighbors yeah at see. We're thinking about the constantly have number than the later makes it that or sticking it. He'll scassing streaks it fish with them but nah. Hurrying in over here. Such see on air right down it must hear raw. And the following, and if I give him a salad, See the best outfield kind of here where money lower what that matters like you said him see sooner but these niggas no man on see if that there's not see one who's how make your makes and the ilk meters that the beam that Horsnan that now Lord's draft neither in fun elixirs novel paxut to this nom oh who's nilvok of the next CV says he not a geek is nimais none the operation is missing our snitix
My gosh, the snaps get handled this now. We get your rail because easy plan your مش نوعات بتركز فيه أنا بس إن بحكي سالك سويت وإني بحكي الناس راح سويت وكثير بحكي سكتها تلاقيس هذا وصنعنا سي بسنة بنصات سي بني بس إني بحكي سويت يمتي أنا بس سي أتوك عم بتدرس ناعس إني بحكي فإني ناعس ناعس سير بدي استديو وبشتغل في سويت إني بيشتغل ناعس وفاصل بزيد فاصل إهم يدير شبيك حبيبي ويبكس fel och gav fashion för det är också andra precis så det är med men snart med verkar så jag vet så med sen det gillar jag också inte om och vad jag vägar ska snart accent i det rosa snart jag vet vad jag så aber ich gerne snart ska stannas när macht det så först så kan snart så ska vi få ta hus när jag ska snart watch när inne verkar så man det låg det ser precis så stream är det vad ska säga
Snare see not girl what I can race it him is it but save name of the street in this alfie so making rough night and making extra night and I always saw and roll floor on the festive mix it all yeah stay minutes I say Alex and not near I see it like yeah Mera playing it popsicle and must oxygen airstairs fun and oxy get not out upstairs missing it look needing to see in a city that kept escape the sheet ma makes and the see here hurrying in shiz but not but see if Nick able to leap him yes on map the night snip on the air fast that marks on me again up Marcus Earth there get over here was a stuff miss that Nej, men det är så vi södra vi är runt om mig.
أبي أحب بس اشتغل بيرتيض نشم بسيار بتفاوين في نوفني أحبين أفاس ماسني أنا زول أبي هو يقف ولني سيدا بيش نوتش أنزويش يزول يساز نرشي رثوش نظام سجن زول سنشاوش دسم لفرق سيدا ينوش زول سنده هو فاك يبتين Snur sheet absolutely here with fun as it saw sheer snur sheet ocean when I can your pegas took my good yeah milly fab my breath all with tongue in my cars nurse and it found birds is not be zero is just
Ja, snur har det bevarat så mycket ja. Helt för precis när för för regular email but snur så det finns omniscient operas och snur city mother alla fan execute out surf not exist cash that they're all free to show this command kind of flush national and there's see that's the nishes of the moniker that the men of it for the one and rolf the now the Milstein the girl fops and the gift for the key of my dog in the earth that's very here think is no make is not himself smell
så det är så att ni skulle kunna göra det i väl and the flash in our قال أولو أنا كساد سلوك من بس نوش على قال نبي بس نو برقص نسير وشدوس عبني كلان هذه نيس فزيوم بس there فيش برقص نوش برقص the air أولو ويمان out نيس تجني يسنا يس أولو بس نكحب very رحسن نيس نوش برقص نهذا اللوشي نوش نوي نكان نوش ناس يمسك ونجلك تشتغل في سفرشنا بديش Officers Mikael men ja eerlijk gezegd Jozen Sjouws dus ik is nu af was niet is not en de we laat eerlijk gezegd is zo bij op vandaag Snieš, just verkostning ich nicht für sie, oder was? Versuch geblieben, Ziel, was nach sie, oder leis you, nicht hei.
On that on ja here's the CV Sevilla for first gewinn mach CV ser wie neide grostet gesehen. Og nej nok CV ser væk, ikke så ja høj fever sak det men det var CV sevel bakken I nok så ju. Hey ja det gesit von oder banging a rationix you know I'd me whole sealer van more forstand the down this position. Ui, this opposite with a one off not neither as I said, you ma hurry look them this seriously if they're facing the shoe McCabbers off in this dish. Even examined their ops and you see him and this is this is you make your find this is if you're guess it's the face you this life the singer perceive he says he's the working up in this near. Oh, let's see if he say to call but massage the echo. Maar zit maar dan run ik ja hurry niet room no what can see you snee niet get dat dat verstof man ook voor de kies hier goes so there was
So we're in the past like this, you yell English, stab me when then now we get snare fan up. You rest the up, it's see, you'll be like yes, here his subsidies here, and I'll serve me the stuff. You should be the commercial, say the law. There's we go, but not that was they had got the airways. I had this and so finally was the result of the was your Havana. You never snow it fell to your things you so when I was so but they go is like just close on me. Go for the fish. Is there wasn't your love for the big cat when the ish love sitting out snakes on. No idea what if I yells yelling axel me.
Ja, dan je mag zo ja zien die zin ik weer dat zien er ik wil al worden voor eerst of surf maar dan ik schijn om neffen na dus dan vervolg de vinder moest zien met ik zin en dus gaat er zelfs ja hier als net er maar zo ja en je ik ben Leich is die see the ja had the wheel gas is in there heel de snaps en so is you know see naar ja naar hier de snap ik het wel get die repies oh god say minutes in that circle op vannacht op niet er man the sarcastic ja en de wil barst voor me en even agree Racers of must Mamas heel little bring in exers ja had die snort nu fit dat maakt niet die red als je leeft is de we nary circle op wel pakken uit door het in de past of stops en is they give you set he says it all but saai en daar even erop mis om de city we set sit all when nou fit naar is nor die three ja wie mate, I'm afraid here's Josh. Who's the low?
Nee, zo meer heel Josh. Who's the mix? Dat is eigenlijk jou gewoon. Dus nee, science dat ben ik voor stuur dat de hier worden ze geweld. Wat zeggen afdeel de naast. Hele is de eerste gegeven dat ze. What was that? Yeah, I'm gonna be the here. They can get away elk on no well, baby stand the ocean in the mouth, but they can our steel size nerves to be sessing yeah, on me. Oh, feel the show under us if I.
Eerste karskas, de vrouw gaat bij staan en naar doels. Maar niet gaan die ja, slowly mix. Zo is het mee, maar we ja, maar de van de kassa. Ik is geen echt. Dat is net als de heisels. Racer hier staan. Apps hier staan. Nisje dan. Van actie de vaccine. Right, Didn't even go making you zero likes, and even get running. Was my run all what I had exceed up? No, we'll stop. But no, I'm gonna see the left side. Harold Fnoxing on Murphy, Murphy Neil. Listen, now mine, yeah, really, what's this again? Nerf that earnest, they're not. Scar it the little star. It must get caps, guess we can do like that. Man, the sarkin or healer. Sin the sin or next to that here's our skin. Hey, little snack. Oh, me. Daring is wrong, it's just nailers. Listen.
I'm not sure if I little maybe say it name, but this name like find over eight flags nerves yet. This days they could be said it was Saska something like the Oxity see where she can interest more positions and bombies and they could let will him taking having the town that will must ain't Mazel, bist häftig heel met zelf maar de was wist dat er meer wichtjes gaat ieder nou of nu aan ieder zie je laatst en was aan de voorkeur niet de eerste en de rest en dat is het los en ik snap heel schoon die zien de al gedaan neer en was is je hebt zo opschieten actie en de rest en dat is de veel zit om en dat is meer dat je het zo heel is wel dus laat maar niet is heel scam de wie we hem voor genomen Gas and the social exigent.
Hey, I'm exiging it, you don't wishing it, you don't. Class or camera. And marker what they must now for time to go make my phrases see it beyond the makes it their walk yes no that man with the earnest solution Gilmron glass they'll be snowy warp Laatskers er kan sa Europska ich bevista. Hey, the might get it so me. No, we're no this girl got no. Well, me sister I agree. You is the one we get.